you hear my spinner?
We'll get this rolling.
Can you hear my spinner?
I'm telling you, they get addicting after a while. It is, what is the name of the show? The Lagniappe Show, episode 5. Now, I got Sean back. We were talking about this. You know, I did a little short episode by myself. And totally geeked to start this new series, I guess. I want more volume in my headphones. So, introduce yourself and leave as much details as you want to leave out.
Okay. I am human. The end. No, I'm joking.
I like it.
I'm Sean.
I like it. Obviously, I don't want to video this thing just yet.
I'm Sean.
Maybe one day I'll work up to video. I really love... If I'm going to say anything dumb or controversial, I like leaving that aside a little bit. People still don't... On, I think, 2 occasions. I've been in radio since I've been 16. I can't even... I'm terrible at math, but... And I've maybe been called out, I think, twice. By my voice. By my voice. Oh, I knew your voice sounded familiar. But physically, nobody knows what my radio persona looks like.
Yeah, I mean...
And I like to keep it that way.
I can imagine you walking through the store and somebody seeing you and be like, you know, that guy looks like he sounds like somebody I've heard before.
Well, there's a term called doxing now. You know what the term doxing is?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get doxed because whatever happens on here, look, I got a family, I got 2 kids. That's really, more important. This is a hobby.
I really don't think that you're that important.
I hope not. I hope not.
I don't think either one of us are that important.
But again, Sean, oh, man, did you bring... you probably forgot. Did you bring your testers to look at the water heater? Because I totally forgot.
No, I forgot about that.
It's okay.
We
I just keep hitting the resetting button.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that once, like 3 weeks ago. You expect me to remember?
Well, no. I didn't remember, so obviously not. I just keep hitting the reset button. It's a water heater issue. I mean, it's either the thermostat or the element that's going out, and I'm pretty sure it's the thermostat because what it does, it doesn't tell it to turn off, and so it triggers the top. There's 2 thermostats on the thing. There's one at the bottom, one at the top. The heating element's at the bottom. It tells the top thermostat. The bottom thermostat is bad, so it just keeps heating. The top one realizes how hot the water is and shuts everything off, and then your water gets freezing cold. And I've taken some awful showers recently, and you just hit the reset button. It takes 15 minutes, and it'll heat it up. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But you know, the amperage for a water heater ain't the same as like a light socket. Like it's.
No, I mean, I guess not. I did. Whenever you texted me, I did look up a YouTube video, and I saw that it was fairly simple. So we just had to run a couple tests to see what was wrong. It
is. But from what I looked up, it's like way more dangerous. From what I looked up, they were like, yeah, you should probably, if it's a light thing, you can most people can do. But
yeah, a water heater, it's just electricity running through a giant copper coil, basically. So, and that's how it gets hot. It's just high amperage through a large coil.
But it's a lot of amperage, way more than you need for a light bulb.
Definitely.
So, and I'm a goofball. I spilled half my drink on the way in, so I'm not the guy to be messing around with that.
I think the red one goes here, and the black. God damn it! My fingers don't work anymore. I can't feel my shoulder.
Lick the sparks.
Honey, pour me a drink. I can't feel my shoulder.
So, part of this, I mean, I'm always going to be drinking during these podcasts, which I enjoy. I'm on the keto diet. I made myself a keto White Russian, and yeah, there goes my phone. And I prefer rum over vodka.
Are you weird
about? Make it taste better.
Are you weird about me tasting it?
No, go for it, but it just has to be from the side of the glass.
Oh, okay.
So you can do it from that side of the glass.
Okay,
It is. Look, it's pretty sweet, but it's like equal sweet. You know what I mean? It's kind of disgustingly sweet. I can only have like one and like have to back off.
No, that's good.
But it's not sugar sweet. It's like equal sweet.
You know what it reminds me of though? It reminds me of the sugar-free sweeteners that you would put into coffees and such.
Yeah,
but it's not bad.
I mean, I brewed some coffee in the Keurig, made myself keto Kahlua, which was a ton of evil. I'm uncomfortable saying how much, and a little bit of
like more equal than any one human should have in their house.
Yeah, and a little bit of artificial vanilla stuff, and then I'm using unsweetened almond milk for that instead of half and half or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can use heavy. That's actually pretty good, but it's full in calories, and trying to cut down on that too. But anyways, that's what I'm doing. But I've been drinking bourbon. I've been doing all kind of different drinks all day, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but
your mom's.
And you got.
Oh yeah. Well, I bought just today because I had recently found it on the internet. Something called Tea Moon from Distillery Acadian.
Out of
New Iberia. Yeah, a distillery out of New Iberia. It's actually really good. It's really smooth. It's a what is it again? I'm sorry. It's already starting to kick in.
It tastes like bourbon.
It does,
but it's not actually a bourbon.
No, it's made with what, cane sugar and grain. We just read the bottle. Like
cane and grain.
And I can't remember.
And I think it was not. I don't know how long it was, if it was aged in, but they said they finished it with charred oak planks.
Finished it with charred oak planks.
So it's not. I mean, it's not as thick. It's certainly sweet. There's no burn on it.
No, definitely not.
No burn on it, and it's
not like that mesquite crown.
Yeah, the mesquite crown. Everybody hates it. I keep it at my house because it's such a cool bottle, such a cool bag. It tastes like barbecue to me, but I mean, it's harsh. But I like the harsh. I like stuff that puts hair on your chest.
So rough.
And it is. And I like it rough. Like your mother, Trebek.
I didn't know this about you, John.
But I like it, man. This tea. What is it? Tea Moon.
Tea Moon.
So it's almost like a bourbonized moonshine.
Yeah. I guess that's basically what you went for.
It's light. It's not as thick on the tongue, I find. But when you exhale, you get a lot of those smoky notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
what I was originally looking for was their new bourbon. So they did they're touting themselves as the first bourbon distilled in Louisiana. So that's what I was looking for originally. But I found this. This is good. I think the bourbon is fairly new though.
It's just a mic.
Getting used to my surroundings here.
Yeah. Still cramped. One of these days, I'm going to have the same thing. All this stuff will be in the same room, but it'll be 3 times as big.
Yeah.
And I'll have actually like leather chairs, and it'll be like a podcast studio / bourbon and cigar lounge.
There you go. Yeah, one day I'll make money too, John.
And I'll,
We're all just going to be making money, Johnny.
Hey, maybe this podcast thing will take off.
So much money, Johnny. It's just going to be you and me making money.
By the way, if you listen to this on BitChute, there's actually a PayPal option.
Yep.
If you want to,
I didn't know about that, but I'm so excited.
We're on BitChute. I'm not trying to. This is a hobby. I'm not really trying to make any money from it. But I would say this: if we were ever to get donations, it would incentivize more content for sure.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum, more and better content.
At what point do you walk into your place of business and start flicking the bird and just walk out?
I mean, if I can, if I can justifyingly match.
Yeah.
But the scary thing is okay. You've heard about the YouTube adpocalypse.
Oh,
yeah. The Mazza, Carlos Mazza, and Crowder getting into the big thing, and then just cracking down on all of it.
I mean, I also spend too much time on YouTube.
Yeah. and Tim, are you follow Tim Pool, Timcast?
Yeah, I watch a lot of Tim Pool.
It's good.
He's a good guy.
He doesn't realize how conservative he is at all.
No,
he's like 7/8
conservative. He's a centrist. He's a centrist Democrat. I
mean, look. things have definitely moved around a little bit, for sure. What used to be centrist what used to be centrist is now almost Republican.
Well, I guess the weird part is that if you were conservative and you looked at somebody like Tim Pool, you're like, yeah, he's kind of centrist. But if you're somebody on the left and you look at Tim Pool, you're like, oh, he's not. He's a Republican. He's a masquerader.
Yeah,
it's like, guys, I don't know.
What really gets me about him is like he insists he will tear down Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang's arguments. Like every time they make a mistake or they say something that he doesn't agree with, he'll do a video on it and he'll tear them. He'll call them out on it, but he still insists on voting for one of them. And I think Tulsi really screwed up recently. She said something that he just like, oh, you can't. Like she went along with Elizabeth Warren. I don't know if it was illegal immigration. It was something really. It was before the debates. Okay. So I think right now he's on Andrew Yang's Yang, but I think he's on that boat.
Yang is probably the only Democrat who did not move 1 point positive or negatively, being the only person who really didn't get a chance to speak.
Which is sad, dude. But it's all super strategic because out of everybody on that stage, look, I'm not an Andrew Yang, I think I'm not a fan of him politically, but out of everybody else on that stage, if a Democrat were to win and beat Trump in 2020, I mean, my goodness, he's actually has plans. He's not just out there catering to minority groups, just giving them, what's the term I'm looking for?
Pandering?
Pandering. Yes, he's not pandering. He has plans. Now, I may not agree with the plans, I may not agree 100% with the rollout. Some of it seems in good spirits, and maybe we should explore some of those ideas. But he's not pandering. That's all they're doing is pandering. I mean, Kamala Harris practically came out and called Joe Biden a racist. You seen that?
That was, yeah.
She's like, I'm not calling you a racist, but you're a racist.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So I watched the second one full through. I didn't watch all the first one. I think I watched about half of the first one on Wednesday. But there's no time. There's no time to really explore anything. And there were many instances where they were given a minute, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever time they were given to explain a plan. And they took that time to express how cool they are, or how nice they are,
or I have a black son. Oh, and
everybody had somebody who died. I was like, yeah, dude, I get it. My dad died of cancer. Should I run for president too? Are we doing this? That's not the point. I get it. Everyone has lost someone, but you don't have to make that. But it was so crazy. There was like, who did it start with? Who started? There was one person who threw it out there like, I lost somebody, and then Biden's like, well, yeah, I lost somebody too, and then like Buttigieg was like, I had somebody who was it was the healthcare part where everybody was talking about losing somebody. It's like, yeah, dude, that sucks, but what's the plan though?
Yeah,
you took that point where you were super sad about it. It really sucks. It really sucks for Americans, but I'm going to make sure that Americans don't have to deal with that. And then you're like, what was the plan?
Yep.
You can't make sure that you can't make sure that it's not going to happen and not have a concrete step. These steps. There were some steps thrown out, but it was
Shapiro.
It was more along the lines of pandering than actual debate.
Shapiro did a thing about it, and he did a little section on burning, which I just thought was funny because he was like, okay, Bernie, how are you going to do whatever? And he's like, well, we're just going to yell. And we're going to get everybody else to yell. And it's just going to be, but okay, so y'all going to yell, and how are y'all going to pay for it? Well, we're just going to yell. And we're going to get everybody else to yell. And, the people are going to speak, and we're going to get it done. Okay, but how are you going to get, well, where are you going to yell? Okay, that sounds like a great plan.
Bernie really did raise his voice. He felt like a really angry
out of place, angry grandpa out of place. I think they said he sounded like Homer Simpson's dad.
Oh Jesus! No, I don't know, man. Bernie, I don't know if Bernie should have run. I don't know if Bernie wants to run, to be honest. I wonder if he really cares that much about winning as much as he cares about putting his views forward. Because he really didn't force himself in the way that a lot of these other people did. Like, a lot of people were just interrupting left and right, throwing their stuff out there. But Bernie was just hitting the same notes as last election cycle. And it was just...
I think he really believes in what he's doing. And this is basically the last-ditch effort, but I think he knows it's not possible, but he's just going through the motions just to show, look, at least I went through it and I tried. But I think even Bernie realizes, I mean, it's no secret to anybody right now. The Democratic Party has jumped off the cliff. They've jumped. They didn't just fall off the cliff. They went so left, they jumped. I mean, when they asked, are you for, like, 100% Medicare, getting rid of private insurance for everybody? Every single hand went up. No private health insurance.
No, I don't think that was the one.
That wasn't the. There was like a couple of them though.
I think,
which were pretty radical left plans.
They threw out Medicare for all, and I'm pretty sure that 2 people in each debate. There were 4 people total that totally threw up their hands. They were like, "Yep, totally, no, Medicare for all." Full stop, Medicare for all. And they threw. There were 4 total that threw up their hands, and I can't remember who it was. I'm pretty sure it was Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. This is bad. Maybe Kamala Harris. I don't remember. But the rest of them were pushing either half and half. We want Medicare for all, but we also want
still keep your private insurance if you like it.
And then a few of them in the second debate for sure. I don't remember the first debate, were saying that Medicare for all will be a future endeavor, and we need to push Obamacare back up to where it was and then expand that. I think Buttigieg, Biden also, they were like, we need to expand on Obamacare or American Affordable Care Act before we ever talk about Medicare for all. There was one issue though that they all just instantly threw up their hands, and I can't remember what it was. I'm at a loss for it.
I don't know, but
I do remember Biden kind of looking around like, what? Oh yeah, me too. Everybody's hand, but God, I can't remember what it was. I feel bad now, but
I feel like I have to, full disclosure, I didn't watch the first debate. I got it filtered to me through some conservative sources. So no, I'll totally, admit that. That's not a problem. The second debate, I did watch. I didn't necessarily listen 100% to, because I watched it during Steven Crowder's live broadcast, where we had a drinking game. They had a drinking game. So every time certain words came up, the stereotypical words that were going to be the focus of the Democratic Party, you drank, and I drank a lot that night.
Jesus.
We drank, and I had it filtered through me. Through Steven Crowder. I mean, they did have the feed on. You could still kind of hear it a little bit.
Okay.
But they would get loud and they would yell over it. And they was like, you see, she's lying and because blah, 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 blah. So my Democratic debates have been filtered through conservative sources. So from what I've seen, my knowledge, what I know, has been filtered. Readily admit that. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's fine.
I don't...
Get it how you live. I honestly don't really care at this point, because there was nothing.
Okay, I don't want it totally raw and unfiltered, because I already know I know what they're gonna say. I know what it is, and I don't want it from the left source, because they're just gonna glorify everything that they say and be cheerleaders. So I'd rather get it from the right, who are critical about it. So if they say something good, okay, maybe so, but I want to hear what's not good about what they say. I'd rather hear the negative, so to critique
you want
what's
that
going
instant
on.
fact check.
According to, I don't know what it was, MSNBC or whatever, the fact checkers took the night off because they were so on point, telling the truth that they didn't even have to. It's not like the last 2.5 years of the presidency where the fact checkers are working overtime. Now they just took the night off in Democratic debates because they were 100% on the money. That was on like NBC or whatever, I don't know what show it was, but somebody actually said that.
I mean, the fact checkers could take so many days off if the Republicans weren't so pure evil. They're just...
It's unbelievable how that works.
God, it's so disgusting, really. They play a good heel, that's what I think.
You know, recently what happened, and I told my wife this. I said, "Can you believe this?" It's virtue signaling. That's what I call it. I call it the virtue signaling Olympics. The Democratic debates.
Yeah, they did a great job too. Great. It was amazing.
Oh, I mean that's.
I don't think I had ever been so empathetic in my life until I watched that debate. I was pure. I cried at least once that I can remember. No, I stubbed my toe. That's right. I stubbed my toe, and no,
it was. I mean, it was.
It was bad.
Look, the thing, and I told you this in a text. There was a thing. A nonprofit organization raised money because they felt bad for illegal immigrant children, some of them without parents, that are in these holding facilities. We don't know what to do with them. They're not citizens, but they're here.
Yeah.
And there was a nonprofit organization that felt bad for them, saying, okay, we don't just want them sleeping on sleeping bags on a concrete floor and Mylar bags. We're going to get them some real beds. We're going to raise money. Nonprofit, raising money. They go to Wayfair for, I think it was for 30,000 children. They had beds made for 30,000 children. Real good, normal beds. Cushions, not Mylar bags on concrete floors. And a handful of workers found out about it that work at Mayfair. And they staged a walk because they don't want to produce anything that's going to go to those detention centers. And then AOC and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, they all get on to it. Yay, good job. There you go. The power of the people. See, we can really make a change. Get behind it. We are not making beds for those kids. Let them sleep in the Mylar bags on the concrete floors. Fuck them. They don't need them. Oh, wait a minute. I thought you were virtue signaling. I thought you were being more... So y'all don't want to give these kids beds? What else are we going to do with these kids? They have to be in these detention centers. Oh, no, they don't have to be. That's so cruel. Okay, fine. Open the doors. Let's go. They don't have parents. They don't have any money. They don't have a home. Let them run wild in the desert and die. They're like, well, what are we going to do? We can't send them back home. That's not an option because we don't even know where these kids go, most of them. You know, we don't even know who their parents are. And we're talking about 6-year-olds. You just gonna open up the door? Hey, you're free, man. You're in the country now. Go ahead. Go run through the desert and go get a job and build yourself a home. What is a 6-year-old, a 7, even a 15-year-old? What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
That's a tough one.
But hey, at least we're not making beds for them.
Yeah. Where was that?
That virtue signaling thing that happened this week. I think they staged a walkout on the Wednesday or the Thursday.
Oh, that was recent.
And then AOC and all that, they were all talking about on Twitter and the power of the people, and that was such a great thing. Yeah, screw these kids. They don't need beds. Like, have you gone so far? Like, it's going so far beyond.
Yeah, it's a dumb move. I don't see it as a great move at all.
You can be a humanitarian, and even if you don't agree with the whole legal immigration policies or whatever, this is about the nonprofit organization raise money to give these kids beds.
Sure.
Real beds.
Sure. And
they just all over it.
Yeah. I guess their argument was something along the lines of the government should be taking care of this.
Well, yeah, but they say no more. Well, AOC said not a penny more. When Trump asked for more money, it wasn't just for the border wall. It was also for these facilities to handle the big... I mean, we've had such a big influx of immigrants come over the last month. It's record-breaking. It's more now. You know, remember when Trump came into office and the numbers went down? And people said, we don't need a wall now. The numbers are down. And I was telling everybody, what are you talking about? Just because the numbers are down now, if Trump gets out of office and we incentivize it, the numbers are going to go right back up. And if there's no wall, then they're just going to come right back through. And we're going to incentivize people making such a dangerous, deadly journey. That's the thing. A lot of people die before they even make it to our border. It's such a deadly journey. I mean, and then besides that, oh God, I'm getting so sidetracked because I'm pretty passionate about this.
Yeah, and one of the main, one of the big things, the big points that they made during the debate was to change the status, or change the, to change the crossing the border illegally from a criminal act to a misdemeanor, or what did they said misdemeanor, I guess?
I think they said they weren't going to criminalize it at all.
They want to decriminalize it.
Yeah, totally. Which just brings more incentive. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. They want to, not a penny more, to fund any of these facilities that hold these people, which means no food, no medical aid, no treatment of any kinds, no more beds, no more anything, no more water. Not a penny more, AOC, not a penny more, she said. Okay? And then they want to shut them down. Say, not a penny more, and we need to close down these facilities. We're just going to let these people just run randomly through the desert? Think about it. If you were, okay, you're fleeing persecution or whatever. You're from Honduras. The next country you get to, that's not a safe haven? Okay. The next country you get, you know how many countries you have to go through from Honduras to the United States?
My geography sucks.
It's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So none of those places are okay.
I gotcha.
None of those places are okay.
Yeah.
You're coming to the United States. So all of a sudden you're not fleeing for your lives anymore. Now you're fleeing for preference. But you're going to make this journey, and it's a deadly journey. It is. And we're saying, well, we're not going to hold you anymore. You can just come in and do whatever. And, you know, California, they're just going to pay for their freaking health insurance. Illegal immigrants can get all the health coverage, whatever, free on expense of the taxpayers. That too, that's another side. But it's just, you're incentivizing these people to make this dangerous trip. I mean, people die. You know, we had, over the last 2 weeks, there was some children that died of some kind of sickness in the detention centers. And the Democrats want to blame the detention centers and the people that run them for the problem. It's not their fault. It's a simple disease. It's not the detention center and just housing people that cause the disease. They're coming from countries where they haven't had any shots. You know, the Democrats are looking at some of the weird, right wing and say, oh, y'all don't vaccinate your kids, y'all fucking crazy. But all these people from other countries with piss poor medical, let them come in, no vaccinations. And then when they come into the holding facilities and they already have these diseases, and then these outbreaks break out in the holding facilities, they blame the holding facilities. It's ICE's fault. It's the government's fault. It's not the people's fault for making this trek, for getting sick and spreading it and not being vaccinated and coming. It's such a... They move the blame so much. It's super frustrating. Okay, that's my rant.
Do right-wingers not vaccinate?
I mean...
I know that's weird. That's the only thing that I caught, but it was weird for you to throw it out. I didn't know.
It's on both parties, actually. So I think the non-vaxxers are on both wings.
You think so?
I think they're extreme right and extreme left. So I think you got the extreme right religious non-vaxxers, and then conspiracy. They're making our kids... giving our kids autism. And then you have the left wing that are so supernatural that we just live on the earth. You know, the hippies. You know what I'm talking about. We don't need vaccines. We live on... And there's the left-wing party, too. There's non-vaxxers on both sides of the spectrum, but they're on the extremes. From what I've seen, anyways.
That's possible. That's not, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to see the stats on that. I don't know, man. Immigration is messy.
It is a mess.
It's messy. We've got issues. Well, we didn't have an issue up until the debate when we had an issue, which was great. I'm glad.
Oh, there was no crisis until there was a crisis.
They admitted that there was a crisis. I'm happy that we're at this point where we can truly accept the fact that there is definitely something fucked up going on the southern border. I said that. That's cool.
You need a refill, I think.
I do need a refill.
Woman?
No. Nope. No, sir. No, sir.
TC, that's the kind of thing why we're not filming this on video and I don't say my name, because that joke, it's just a joke.
No, and my wife would laugh in my face and then she'd get me a drink.
Yeah.
Because she loves me and I love her.
And it's because it's a hilarious joke, because we don't really mean it, but, it's a joke, man. It's in jest.
What was I going to say? Immigration. So immigration sucks. The immigration process sucks in general.
Yeah, sure.
We have weird... I don't know. It takes way too long.
No argument there.
I always had an issue with the asylum claims.
Mm-hmm.
How can we really truly know what does asylum really mean? What's the standard on asylum?
Well, and just okay. Well, think about it though. Still, okay, I'm seeking asylum. The government wants to throw me in jail for blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you have to look at the cause too. Just because the government wants you to throw, maybe you are a legit criminal. Then why do we want you here? If if the government's out to get you,
that's possible.
Why? Maybe you killed a bunch of people.
I am
Definitely don't want you.
Seeking asylum due to rampant cartel activity, and that's a possibility. But
sure.
Man, the more you start to look at all these issues, the more you realize that it's because of the other countries. They have a problem. It's not necessarily us; it's them. But how do we fix them while also being humanitarian? And
not starting wars and revolutions around the world.
Well, and we could use one or two fewer regime changes.
I'm a big I'm a Jeffersonian libertarian. Okay. I'm not big on foreign conflict. I for the most part I like to say no, let them be, let them be, let them be. Even though intervening may ultimately help us out, and I don't mean just for greedy things. I don't mean just for greedy things, but just like this immigration issue. They're fleeing to come here, and they're causing us all kinds of problems because they have turmoil. But I'm also a hands-off, laissez-faire kind of thing. Let them sort this out, however it goes. And then there's also, you got the moral issue. Maybe there's some dictator that's really just slaughtering a bunch of innocent people, and you're like, Hitler, you can't do this. We have to step in. Although we could be laissez-faire and let it go on, and maybe it would eventually sort itself out and everything. But how much more people could we save? How much more innocent people could we save if we didn't intervene? And it's not easy. Mm-hmm. And I told you this in a text, with Trump, and when he called back that Iran strike. Mm-hmm. The President of the United States is subject to his intelligence agents' information. He doesn't know. He only knows what his intelligence agents tell him. And so if his intelligence agents are just people trying to work with the war machine to start another war, all he knows is what his intelligence agents are telling him, and it's whether or not he believes them and whether he wants to follow through with it. I think what happened was he was going to follow through with it. He went with his intelligence agents, and he probably got a call from Iran on the thing and said, hey, look, this was an honest, legit mistake. Somebody really fucked up. We're so sorry. This is an honest mistake. And he probably felt bad for him, realized there was going to be some casualties, and said, you know what? Pull it off. We don't need to start a war right now. But I guarantee you, there were people, his intelligence agents were so pissed because they thought this was the time we were gonna finally get this Iran war started.
Yeah, I wondered what the story was behind that. I mean, there's really no way to tell. And you could say, you could believe him and say, like, yeah, he totally pulled back because of 150
I think
people.
he got a phone call.
I mean, yeah. It could have been that. It could have been... God only knows, really.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't know.
Honestly, always wondered if he truly runs anything. I've always wondered that. I've wondered that since Bush. It's like, president doesn't do anything.
Bush or Bush Jr.?
Bush Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they really do? They don't really do anything. I mean, yeah, sure, they sign the papers, but who tells them to? That's always been my thing.
And Bush Sr. was, I mean, he was with the CIA. I mean, they're
what?
They're all intertwined. So, and the CIA runs all kinds of, I mean, way more than anybody really truly can comprehend. I mean, they conduct all of these things around the world, regime changes and everything else. I mean, they stage protests, just to get
They stage protests and counter protests.
Yeah. So people can start shooting at each other, so they can blame one side, so they can start a revolution.
It's
like
wild.
That's what they do.
They stage protests. They fund civil wars. I mean, the whole. So, I've kind of, through basic research, I have not spent a lot of time actually looking into this. I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and there are a lot of crazy ideas out there. But the one that sounds the most interesting to me is that all of this is quite literally it's all to save the petrodollar. And I believe that we're being held ransom in a way by Saudi Arabia. It's an interesting idea, but there's no one can buy oil internationally without the dollar bill, right?
Right.
Saudi holds all the oil, not all the oil, most of the oil. They sell to almost everybody, and they use the dollar bill. So if Saudi wants a war, we're going to help them out with it because they're helping us out. It's kind of this give situation we got going on.
And all the other oil, we basically have all the other oil, and we just keep that shit in reserves and just cap it.
I mean, we're using natural gas now. We're building windmills, we're building solar. We have nuclear plants. It's all there, And yeah, we do have oil. We have a lot of oil. We refine a lot of stuff.
A lot.
But
and there's limits. I mean,
hey, what you gonna do? I don't know.
Hey,
I'm not the president.
We're over 30 minutes into this. My drink is empty and yours is empty.
Oh yeah.
The people that are listening to this podcast aren't going to miss us for more than like a second.
Okay.
I can definitely hit this pause button, and we can go get a refill.
Well, stop talking about it and be about it, John boy.
Let's do it. Maybe I could place an ad here one day when we get sponsored.
This podcast is brought to you by...
All right. The magic of, not radio, I always say radio, but it's podcast magic.
The magic of copy
Refill.
paste.
So I moved away from my keto White Russian.
Oh.
And I just did a Evan Williams and Coke Zero. Yes, a cheap bourbon like Evan Williams. I really like it. It's one of my absolute favorite cheap bourbons. But I like to mix that with soda. Plus, I need to stay hydrated, right? So a little bit of soda or something.
Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do.
I like hydration. Hydration is cool. Not into kidney stones,
We had gotten into pretty deep about immigration and stuff.
Immigration, democratic politics.
Yeah. See, my personal policy is usually not to speak definitely about anything that I don't know definitely.
Yeah.
So I try to kind of beat around the bush in a lot of stuff. So like with immigration, I've always kind of felt that, we had 2 years where, was it 2 years or maybe a year and a half, where it was a full Republican-controlled government, and they couldn't even fix it. So I'm wondering, if it were that easy to fix, Would it have been done already? And I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I have my. I think I don't know what to do with it is because I'm still fighting my internal struggle of the empathy versus the reason. Like, oh, it's so reasonable to basically just shut them all out. But it's also very empathetic to allow them to come in. So it's like I'm somewhere in the middle of that, but there's no easy answer there.
Well, and the way I look at it, they are not all refugees, man.
Mm-mm.
They are not.
No,
There's
and I'm with you with
bunch
that.
of and I mean, like, okay.
I'm with you on that one.
I heard from a guy.
Uh-oh. You play telephone?
I forget what they're. I forget what they're called. But basically,
Well, like coyotes? Is that where you're going?
well, they're
sorry, go ahead.
women that are chained to trees. And like the border agents find this, right?
Okay.
They're just walking around like the border agents, the people that patrol the border.
Yeah.
Find deceased women, naked, ravaged, strapped to trees,
Wow.
with like 30 condom wrappers on the ground.
Oh, that's not good. That's
They
just
do
gross.
that to people. Like it's a
Yeah.
So I have that. I mean this.
But who does
the trafficking, the human trafficking.
It's a trafficking
and
situation.
the kids. I mean, how many times do you hear about a kid coming here? Well, not even with their parent. The person that bring or the kid comes by themselves. Like it's a messed up situation. So they're not all refugees. Of course, we want to help individual people, but not people are exploiting the system. Yes, and not everybody that's coming has the best of intentions. We really want to help the people that need help. But here's the other thing. Wouldn't it be better to help those people that really need help and keep them in their own country? Is there a way we could,
I've always felt that was the ultimate
without
goal. Or that
war
should be the
intervention,
ultimate goal.
but with, okay, these people were fleeing,
I say
they're
we
coming
just-
to us.
I say we
Can
just
we
buy
send
Mexico.
more aid to that country?
No, we just buy Mexico. we make it South Texas.
Mexico is, I mean, look, I've talked bad about Mexico before,
Look,
and I'm
we're
kind of...
No, it's a great investment. We get Mexico, we get Cancun, okay? We get Cabo San Lucas, Riviera Maya, very
Mexico
beautiful.
City is
I mean,
slamming.
the whole Yucatan Peninsula is very nice right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Well, that was fucked up. I went there. Anyway, no,
The
yeah.
world and everything in it, Mike.
So, yeah, ooh, wow. That was great. You're so good at it.
Yeah.
Everything, man. So, yeah, I don't know. I also want to say, like, that in between, but I also have this other side of me that says, well, if our welfare state wasn't so immense and our government wasn't so powerful, let's say if the welfare state was shrunk down to like bare bones, bare minimum. That sounds horrible up front because there are a lot of people who use it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to throw out any percentages as to who's abusing, because God only fucking knows at this point. So you cut back the welfare state to bare bones, and you eliminate the war on drugs. So you cancel out the cartel and their money.
Yeah.
And the reason for people to come here, I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to say that Mexican people or South American people are coming here for welfare. You can't necessarily say that, because that's not necessarily true.
Right.
It is something
I
that
agree.
they get eventually, but it's not the reason that they came here. And you
I mean,
can't say that. But
Sean,
at a point,
it's the best country in the world,
Well,
man.
I mean,
who wouldn't want to be here?
with such a powerful authoritarian government, how could you argue otherwise?
Oh yeah. We gotta. Yeah, exactly. The guy is an N-word, by N-word I mean the German N-word.
Oh.
Yeah, the guy apparently running our country. He's a German N-word.
Well, I mean,
look
In
at
the
his wife.
in the
If you really look
in a libertarian point of view, he kind of is. But
I don't.
everybody for the past 100 years has been pretty.
I'm a libertarian, and I don't. He's not. Dude,
I don't believe he's a Nazi.
he's
I don't
not
believe that
my.
he's
He's not my favorite. He is not my favorite. Okay, don't get me wrong. He's not my
I
favorite.
don't think I have to even go that far.
But he is certainly he's like the last grasp that this country has before they fall off the cliff. Like he's like the last. You know, we almost kind of needed this guy. We almost needed this asshole from Hollywood who was obtuse, just super, just an asshole, man. But a super overachieving. We almost kind of needed that to shake the system up, to say, look, for all of you who don't want to be in a socialist communist nation, you'll need to gravitate towards this flamboyant motherfucker, because otherwise, we going off the cliff.
That's always been my issue with this whole situation. Like, okay, wait, no, let me back up for a second. So everyone's worried about Trump. And I don't blame them for being worried about Trump. I really don't. Because for so long, we've seen the president as, I mean, he's the leader. Mm-hmm. He's the, fucking FDR, the fireside talks. You know, he's our dad.
Not a big fan of FDR,
but I hate him too. But it's the idea he FDR.
I hate him too. Yeah, I like how you slipped that in.
It's fine. It's fine. We're moving on.
No. Our presidents can never lie to us. They're all these
they're just so great.
You know,
and there's something that the president tapped into, and I wonder if it's something along the lines of like the way that England handles their political system, right? So England has their parliament, they have the people that they vote for, but they also have the celebrity aspect of their government, which is their queen, their princes,
right?
Something to look at and inspire.
They don't do anything.
They don't do anything, but they're a figurehead.
Still there, yeah.
And I wonder how much of that we've taken on and said, you know, maybe we need a figurehead. We need somebody for people to look at and be like, oh, he's so great. And FDR was the great example of, like, he was the first president to start using was he the first to use the radio? I'm not sure, but he really used the radio. Like, he was giving these talks and these fireside talks where he talked to the American people as one of them, or as, like, the president. This is your president speaking. You know, this kind
of
stuff.
Like Trump on Twitter.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, no. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, you had Woodrow Wilson, who really believed that he was the head of a great and powerful nation that was doing the right thing, the moral thing, no matter what, right? And he that's where we got all of our freaking international meddling from, is whenever it really started with him. And then, you know, FDR gave us the president that we could love, basically. And that's where it's going. You know, it's every president is somebody that we vote for, it's somebody that we like. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, we really like this guy.
Yeah.
What does he do for us? He doesn't really do shit for you, but, you know, there's something about him.
Which goes back to the, like, what I said, the president is vulnerable to his intelligence agents, the CIA, the FBI, and he only knows what information they give him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Bush Jr., the Iraq War, I still don't know. I'm still 50-50. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether it's to blame it on Bush Jr. Look, his dad wanted to topple Saddam too, so it could be a family thing. So that's that 150 side. But also, the other 50 side is, I mean, he's at the mercy of his intelligence agents. Right. If his intelligence agents tell him, look, there is a threat here, you know, 9/11, they cause it, this is what your people are giving you. This is what they give you. If this is the intelligence they give you, how can you fault him in making that decision?
Our intelligence agency is so powerful for an agency that is not, excuse me, the officials of the president of
I hope you're not driving home today.
No. That's
oh, by the way, yes, we want to thank Sean's lovely, beautiful wife for watching the kids so we can do this.
Yes,
like always, I like to pay tribute to the women.
And she needed an excuse to hang out with her godchild, so it's all good.
Well, yeah, that's good. He needs to know his nanny.
Auntie. Get some auntie life. Mm-hmm. So anyway, what was I saying? So our intelligence agency. So we have our CIA, we have our FBI. They're incredibly powerful, right?
Super powerful.
J. Edgar Hoover.
Then there's NASA, and then there's the
Why
then there's the sub NASA that's part of sub NASA that's part of the marine budget. I want to say marine budget. What am I talking about? They're part of the.
I'm here with you, bud.
Not Marines. But yeah, they're part of the same thing. No,
NASA?
it's not the military budget. It's the I'm talking about the actual like budget. Part of the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a subversion of NASA that's part of the Navy budget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all the money goes to look into UFOs and all the crazy out there, interplanetary, inner solar system.
Yeah.
And even outer solar systems.
Some Bob Lazar type shit.
Yeah. Bob Lazar.
The man.
I mean,
man, the myth, the legend. So anyway, J. Edgar Hoover. So there was Hoover. There was
Tell
a
me about
reason why I
Hoover.
Well, Hoover was notorious for blackmailing the president. I mean, he basically went up to JFK and told him, listen up, or everybody knows about all the women you've been with.
Right.
It's that kind of stuff. It's part of it. It was what they did.
I'm still to this day. I'm so.
Hoover was dirty as hell, dude.
Yeah, but I'm blown over by JFK, and everybody still loves him. They're like, "Who's your favorite president? List your 3 favorite presidents." Everybody says JFK. Well, JFK's in the top 3 always.
He's a perfect frontman.
It's like Washington, Lincoln, or Obama, Lincoln, and JFK. It's something like that.
Oh, perfect frontman.
He was awful.
Amazing PR.
He had the mob in and out every day in the White House.
But he was great face though.
Oh my God, he was terrible,
dude. So another thing about like the FBI,
he had some good speeches.
He
didn't write them. He didn't write them.
But that's what I mean. It was the PR side.
Yeah.
Everybody loved him because he can make your heart flutter. Trump ain't making shit flutter. All right, there ain't nothing. Oh God, I've never been tighter.
That deserves a drink right there.
They're PR, man. They're frontmen, and I don't believe that they have power anymore. I really don't. I believe I'm at the point now. This is all feeling. I'm not going to prove anything. There's no way. But it's this idea that they get elected by saying all the things that they want to do, and then they don't do anything because they're not allowed.
Well, the most powerful thing is the Supreme Court. They've got probably the most power.
I think they've got more power than they need. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Well, they've got political power now, which they never should have had.
If you look at the 3 branches, I think the power is overwhelmingly on the Supreme Court side. And then you got Congress that just stalemates everything, so the president can't do anything.
So here's the thing, right? I believe that over the past 100 years or so, again, it's all over the past 100 years. You have your international meddling started, social programs started to explode, income taxes. You start getting into more and more wars. World War II and military-industrial complex becomes a huge thing.
I was looking for that word earlier.
That's what I'm saying, and it just keeps going. And that's we keep expanding our military budget because it's like a third of our economy at this point. Not a third. I'm not going to say it's a third. It's a huge chunk of our economy. We have to keep the wars going, or a lot of people lose their fucking jobs. Basically, it's crazy, but it's true, right? I mean, we have a lot of manufacturing jobs, and a lot of them are building bombs and jets.
So, but here's what I like about this.
Okay.
I like where this is going. Okay.
All right.
Because our technology, and this may lead into it because when we took a break,
I'm going to stop you right now because I'd like to preface all this. I realize now, halfway through my second drink, that I don't think we've finished one thought. But this is fine.
We'll have to do it again.
Let's keep going.
We got to be consistent, Sean.
Yes.
Consistent. A high fiber diet, right?
What we gotta be is on Ritalin, because this is rough. No, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so, oh shit, where were we?
You were getting into the military-industrial complex.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is what excites me though,
Okay.
right? Like I get it. We're building warships.
Mm-hmm.
We're I don't know, 350 warships. We don't even need all that. Why we keep building? But with this is going to lead into our AI discussion, which I'm so super stoked about. But with the new AI, the new technology that we're learning, it's going to be less money spent on machine guns and warships, and more money spent on AI, intelligence, and even space stuff. Because weaponizing space, I mean, you can be in anywhere shooting down lasers from satellites. Imagine that, shooting down laser beams from satellites, blowing up bases and stuff. That's where all the money, and that's less of the old waste of the money that we're spending building dumb warships and probably useless shit that we don't need. Tanks, we don't need anymore. Tanks are obsolete.
Yeah.
We don't need tanks anymore.
Well, we need to keep building tanks because there's this guy in whatever bumfuck Egypt that builds our tank.
I think that's on the surface.
You know, Jeffrey over there, he's worried about his 401k. Okay, he doesn't want to get laid off because he can't finish his tank.
But I think we're finally moving towards a point where we ain't building no more tanks.
What about Janine?
We're building satellites.
Janine's over there hammering on bombs to make sure they're okay. I'm sorry, go ahead. Building satellites, yes, we're building satellites.
I think we're building satellites that can shoot fucking lasers back down to Earth and not like G.I. Joe lasers, but like lasers that can fuck up your the way machines operate, the way that other countries' military weapons operate. So you can basically just render them useful. I mean, you heard of EMPs, right?
Of course.
So kind of like an EMP. If we stop building tanks and ships and we put money towards that, and hey, we got the Space Force now. Trump started the Space Force, right?
It's the best Space Force.
It's putting military weapons into space.
There's no other Space Force like it.
It's the greatest. Well, yeah. I like the Trump. Did you see the Father's Day Trump mugs? The Father's Day Trump coffee mugs is like, you're the greatest dad ever. Everybody
says
you're awesome. You're amazing. You know, everybody.
All of those people say this is the best way to build satellites.
But I think that's where it's going. So I think some of that money, which would have been, and it has been useless for probably the past 20 years, putting money into building useless tanks and warships, lately probably is actually placed good because we're innovatively, I think we're putting, I'm telling you, man, artificial intelligence is way further along than anybody knows.
I believe that.
Super.
It's possible, yeah. For sure.
It's exciting and it's scary at the same time. We can continue. Let's continue this. When we're ready to get deep into AI, like I'm.
No, that's fine.
I want to nerd out. I don't know. Well, let's wrap up. Let's this other stuff because I'm telling you, I'm going to go off the deep end on this.
I don't know what else we had to say about the other stuff, though. I mean, I think we were talking about the power of the bureaucracies or the bureaus.
Like everybody hates Trump, but how much power does Trump really have at the moment? God, really, that wall would have been built if Trump was an authority and he really was a dictator and he really was the H word with the small mustache. You say that, they like kick you off of YouTube or something. But if he really was that,
can you say
the wall would be built, would it not? If our government wasn't working properly, if the Congress couldn't step in the way and the Supreme Court, if the branches of government wasn't working at least remotely properly, would that wall not be built already?
Possible, I guess. No, it wouldn't. So if the branches of government were working remotely properly, is that what you said?
Yeah. So he might be, people vilify him. He might be an asshole for wanting to do it if you don't agree with it. But has it been done? No. So the government. So he's not taking over. It's not an out of control government because it's still stopping him.
Yeah, I think the government is still running as smoothly as it usually does. Although do believe that that our House of Representatives has signed over way too much power in general.
Sure.
Just in general, over the past God knows how long. Just one thing after another. Oh, the president will take care of this.
Pen and paper. What was it with Obama? What he said, pen and paper, I can do whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Something like
and
that.
he could. That was the thing, and he would do it, and then the Supreme Court would stop it. I don't know. I think the House of Representatives has passed off a lot of power because they just don't want to deal with it. They just don't want to have their hands dirtied by a lot of these things, and it's fucked up.
one of my, and it's sad, but at the same time, it's absolutely hilarious. And this happens. It happens from time to time. But what just truly shows you the ridiculousness of where our political system is at the moment. AOC came out with what was her bullshit thing that everybody fucking laughed at? The climate change bill, the new Green Deal or something like that. Was it New Green Deal or something like that?
Her original posted draft of the Green New Deal.
And Mitch McConnell, he said, "Okay, let's vote on it." Yeah. Oh, you proposed, and then they got mad because he asked for a vote for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it was such a great play. I was just saying that's how ridiculous our political system is, because it was an over-the-top, ridiculous thing, and he knew it was, and he was like, "Let's do it now. Let's put it, a lot of people, and sign yourself. Put your name on this ridiculous."
Well, there are a lot of people who were speaking up and saying it's a great policy. There were a lot of people, Democratic side, who were saying, "Yeah, it's a great idea. All this is a great idea." News agencies were asking.
They like the idea. They don't like the policy.
No, the
policy is ridiculous.
And you could say that it was an original draft. And that's fine. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
She shouldn't have put it up. She shouldn't have posted it. Now,
well, and then the denial afterwards is terrible.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Yeah, she really did. It was already archived by the time she started denying it. It's like, no, you can look that shit up. You can look up the what's that? The Vault. You can look up everything now that's been deleted. But anyway, yeah, you just shouldn't have posted it. Put something more clean and more. If it really wasn't what you wanted, then why did you post it?
Exactly.
You shouldn't have posted it. So
she's a bartender, Sean. She's a bartender. She didn't do anything but bartend before this.
Dude, you got to be fucking smart to be. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. Okay. I disagree with her.
She gained but there was a system. She gained an incumbent, I think. Like it was a game. She gained. It was a game. She gained them.
It was a game when Trump won too. Honestly.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
It's a game. They're gaming the system. So you can say she's stupid. I don't think she's stupid. I think she just played her cards right, and that's fine. Do what you want. You do you, boo boo.
I don't think she was stupid for winning that.
Maybe she's inexperienced. You could say that.
You seen the shit?
She's slightly inexperienced, but she's also very powerful.
You seen the shit where
she's got a strong voice.
A year ago, she took some pictures, pretend like she's on one side of the fence, and the photographer only. You seen that when they staged the? You seen that? And she was crying over an empty parking lot because there was nobody there because they wouldn't let her in the detention to actually see the illegal immigrants. So she was just looking at an empty parking lot, and she was faking crying. You seen that shit?
She was pretty sad, dude. It's a very sad situation, bro.
I mean, John, she was sad because she couldn't. They didn't let her inside. That's what she was crying about. John, that's what she was crying about. They didn't let her inside.
John, who hurt you?
Oh,
where's your heart, John? Why couldn't?
My heart is with the truth, man. Come on, man. You can call that bullshit out. I'm a bullshit caller outer. I got a really strong bullshit signal, and I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I love everybody. It don't matter.
It was an amazing.
Don't matter. Don't matter race, sexuality, but I just call people out for their bullshit. People are gonna bullshit. It don't matter. Again, I love everybody for their race, their sexuality, their gender, whatever they.
You don't have to preface. You don't have to preface.
But I also will call people out when they bullshit, regardless of their race. But it doesn't matter. I'm gonna call bullshit out on bullshit.
All I'm saying, John, is I'm sorry that you have no heart left.
Fucking people. what they do, man. It's what they do.
I'm joking.
So
yeah, that was fucked up.
So let's get into AI, man.
Sure.
How much have you been following Tesla? Because Elon Musk. Did you see? Okay, first of all,
petrified of AI. He's freaking scared.
But he's also building it too.
Yeah.
But he's telling everybody, "Hey, look, we're building. We know what's going on. Like, hey, let's kind of slow it down. Okay, because there are several different companies making vehicles that can self-drive, but nobody's on Tesla's level. They're all taking the wrong approach. I think there's one other one that's taking Tesla's approach, and they're pretty good. But Tesla, dude."
Doesn't Tesla outsource open source their stuff too? I want to say that at one point
I can't comment to that.
Yeah, I could Google it.
But what I can tell you is they're by far and away the best.
Right. Yeah. No, their cars are absolutely fucking amazing. They're astounding.
So I've been telling everybody, like, okay, I had a class reunion.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It was wonderful.
Was everyone fatter?
It was
than
wonderful. Most of them, yeah. Most of them, yeah. But you know,
Good for you, John.
But I'm trying to get shredded, and then start September, back on the, I'm gonna try to bulk up a little. I'm gonna try to lean bulk, but hey, man, I'm trying to be the best me. Personality-wise, look, I don't post. I made it while you look that up. I'll segue to this. I made a point to myself.
Yeah.
And it's only been about a month or two.
Good.
But I made a point to myself. I'd argue with some of my best friends, and we said some dirty things to each other on Facebook, some bad stuff. Dug in deep in the heart.
Yeah.
And I said,
about their mothers.
I shouldn't attack my best friends like this. That's, I still think to this day that they're wrong. Don't get me, I still think they're wrong. But maybe I shouldn't have talked to them in that way. That would have been a better way to approach that situation. And then I decided I'm on a course of self-betterment, not only physically but as a person. Mm-hmm. And I don't post anything to Facebook now on my personal Facebook. And then my professional is just robotic. It's professional. But on my personal Facebook, I don't post anything that isn't positive.
Yeah.
I look at it. If I want to post something, I'll type it up. I'll look at it. It's like, is this a positive message? No. Delete it. Don't post it. I only post positive, motivational stuff. I only want to be positive. I'm tired of fighting with my best friends because I think the internet makes us think our world is worse than what it is. I think the internet has given us a distorted view of our real world, man.
Yeah.
And I don't like it, and I want to be a better. Not only do I want to bring better light, and I don't want to call my friends idiots, obviously, but I just want to be a better person in general. And so I'm working on myself, and only positive stuff on Facebook. And so I've been posting a bunch of motivational shit, and I go and I work out, and I gotta work out in the morning. I wake up at 5:30. I go run around my neighborhood and get fucking. So September, I'm gonna lean bulk, whatever. I'm doing this, like I said, a keto diet. This will come up in the podcast all the time because it's paying attention to what I eat, paying attention to what I do, and great. I mean, it's worked out great. So, but if anybody doesn't want to do that, I am not going to. I don't fat shame. I don't do that. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Why'd you look at me when you said that?
I didn't. I was looking at that picture.
There's no way to prove that. There's no cameras in here. You looked.
Oh no! Oh now. Okay. Now. Okay.
You
please.
Directly on my belly, and you said you don't fat shame. That's pretty messed up, dude.
Sean, you're just a big dude in general. You're actually not.
Oh, I feel chunky as hell right now.
You might feel chunky, but you're just a big dude. You're like a foot and a half taller than me.
Better.
You're a big dude.
No, I'm joking with you. All right, so let's move on. So yeah,
but what I'm saying is, don't. I don't. People can be whatever they want to be, do whatever, blah blah blah. Just don't take your shit to my court. Just don't take your shit to my court. That's all I gotta say.
Baby. Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. I mean, live how you want to live. I ain't got nothing, and it's the same. That's the way I approach politics, gay, LBGTQ, whatever. All of that. Live how you want to live. Just don't bring your shit to my court.
Sure.
I ain't playing that game.
Sure.
So
no, that's a good way to live.
That's how I live. You play your game, I play my game. We're good. I just, but I will. I mean, it's gonna come up. It's gonna come up because the way I feel, in order to achieve success, you almost have to be obsessed. You have to be obsessed with it. If I really want to be fucking shredded, which is what I'm on the course to right now, by the way, I'm probably like around 12-13% body fat. It's not enough.
Yeah.
I want to go more.
You working on ripped like Jesus? You want to be ripped like Jesus? As Jesus H. Christ?
I mean, all the way down to the beatings and the...
Oh, no.
I don't want to be that ripped, like that. Actually ripped open.
Have you seen a crucifix, though?
Oh,
Jesus got abs, bro. 8-packs. It's amazing. Hammies?
All he ate was goat, apparently. What did they eat? Goat and goat cheese?
I'm talking about...
They didn't have the... I mean, he lived in the freaking desert. He walked the desert with the apostles, right? So what did he eat? Fish? He made, granted...
Lots of fish and bread, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. They had fish sandwiches.
I don't know.
They had fish sandwiches every day.
Every day.
God.
Living that life.
I don't know.
Living that life.
No, but you put on the muscle in the fall, so when you shred up in the spring, you can still maintain some muscle. So that's the idea around it, and it's what I'm doing. It's going to come up in the podcast because I'm obsessed about it, and the only way you can be successful is if you just obsess and you just do it. You just do it. So it comes up. I don't know where we were going, but I wanted to talk about AI.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about AI and Facebook. I mean, shit, man. In most social medias, there's some form of AI. There's some form of code that's going to automatically filter or produce content, put content in front of your eyes that it believes that you want to see.
Yeah, well, they do this for the search engines, and for me, if I type whatever words I type in, I think that should be the number one most important. But what they do is because I kind of work with that media side too with my job, and they look at what you type in and they try to match it to the post title, whatever the post title is of the thing, and then they go by, well, this website gets a lot of traffic, so we're going to put that website first. This one gets second most traffic. They build it by traffic,
But that's after the ads, though. Because the ads go first.
Yeah, well, the ads go first. Exactly. It's all a fucking screwed up system. But, okay. So, I've been, go back to what I said. I remember I said this, at least. I had my class reunion a while back. And I know everybody thinks now, all the people I graduated with now think I'm like an alternative. I'm going to say... They're going to think I'm Alex Jones. They're going to think I'm the crazy ass conspiracy theorist. Because I've been telling them, look, I got kids. 2 and 4. But I have people that I graduated with. They have kids in high school. And I keep telling them, do not let your kids get CDL license, certified driver's license. No, don't do it. Because Tesla is so far advanced with their self-driving vehicles that
That's not a conspiracy though. That's
no, but but people don't realize it. Okay, and here's the deal. I was there. I was drunk.
Tesla's already put out. They already have semi trucks out.
Yeah, they already put out the Roadster. Yeah, the Roadster, the semi. It's already out.
Right.
They built it. It exists.
It's running.
It's running.
And it's
now they only have a handful, but they're building more. And by 2020, they're gonna have a full-on freaking fleet.
Right.
Okay, so I told them 5 years. I was like, hey, in 5 years, you like waiter, you like getting your stuff delivered. It's just going to be a vehicle.
Right.
And there's going to be nobody driving.
The window rolls down, and you pick the thing off the top.
Yeah, and it just, that's it. And I've been telling these people this, and they look at me kind of weird, like, okay, but they look at me like, okay, maybe you're jumping the gun. Maybe you think, oh yeah, this, I believe that, John, I believe you, this is going to happen 2030, 2035, yeah. No, dude. No.
Yeah.
Elon Musk already said I
Freaking
kicked my
microphone
stand.
stands.
Yeah, Elon Musk already said by the end of 2020 he was going to have over 1 million. What are they called? Something taxis. So taxis,
Wow.
taxis, driverless taxis. You buy for them. They come find you by your GPS location.
Right.
They pick you up. You already paid for it. They just drive you to your destination. Right. Here's the other thing.
Didn't he already say that he was gonna? There was gonna be a push, like a technology, an update that goes out to the Tesla vehicles that are already on the road,
Yes.
giving
Yes.
the owners an option to taxi their own vehicles.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And this is why it's gonna work because of that incentive. So if you're at work and you have a Tesla vehicle in the parking lot, and
You're stuck for 8 hours.
you're stuck for 8
Yeah,
hours, you
nothing
ain't
else to
going
do.
nowhere.
Yeah.
You can make side money. I think they
Right.
said up to 30-35%. Just get your mobile app, put your car into the fleet, and
Yeah.
it'll go taxi people around all
Yeah,
day.
I mean, if
While it's has to
if
charge.
that helps you pay off your Tesla bill.
Come on, dude. Like, that's why it's
Yeah.
going to work. Like, you understand me? That incentive is why it's going to work. So they don't even need to make all these taxis because people are just going to put their own vehicles
It's-
into the fleet.
It's odd that we're
And it's all electric.
So yeah, so back to the open source thing that we were talking about. That was
Right.
back in 2014. He did it. He actually put
It's all
out his
open source.
technology to open source,
And you okay,
which is weird because I think
gets me
that
so excited.
I think that everyone is still trying. I think everyone is trying to catch up to what he's already done. See, the thing is, he's like, I figured it out. We're good. You can open source it now. By the time that we get our name out there and everyone's buying our stuff, then they'll be caught up. I think that's where he did it.
There's a thing called exponential learning, Sean.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
All
Now
right.
understand.
All right, listen to me. Okay, so there's this thing.
All of these Tesla vehicles,
Uh-huh.
they're all. He hits an enter button. Somebody hits an enter button on the computer. I want the sound. Somebody hits the button. Okay?
Okay.
That's done. Every single computer in all of those cars get updated to the most updated knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
They all talk to each other. So here's another thing about that fleet. They're all talk to each other. So, you know, you're in the, I don't know, New York City, whatever. There's a freaking traffic jam. Well, one Tesla vehicle can tell all the rest, hey, there's a traffic jam here. Everything's going slower. You might want to find alternate routes. They can communicate towards each other, and they automatically jump to the alternate routes and take people where they want to go. Okay, so there's that. And you know, people are going to, exponential learning is the topic. I gotta keep that in my mind because I'm gonna get sidetracked. But okay, so you know, there's people, especially the older ones, are like, as soon as they run one person, they're gonna kill somebody. Somebody's gonna get in a wreck. As soon as they run one person over, that's it. You know, people are gonna rally against it and blah blah blah. Okay, but they're exponentially more safe than a human driver, and here's why. As soon as somebody hits that enter button, even the dumbest Tesla vehicle on the road is still the smartest. There's no one that's dumber than the other.
Mm-hmm.
So if an accident happens, they can run it, learn from it, and every single vehicle learns from it.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Every single one. Follow me. So the smartest vehicle on the road is also the dumbest vehicle on the road because it's the same program.
Yeah.
As long as it's
But they
Tesla.
all-
There may
but
be
they
other
all
brands.
learn.
Don't get me wrong. There may be other brands that are
You're
running
saying
into trees.
you're saying that they you're running into trees.
But like, and
You're
here's the
saying that
thing: they don't
as-
forget knowledge.
as the instance happens, they learn from it, and they don't, not the individual vehicle, but the network learns from
Exactly.
Okay.
And every single one of them. And guess what? They've been taking in that knowledge since they rolled out the first Tesla.
Right.
They've been collecting all
So
that
every
data.
time,
so they already know.
Every time they stop at a stoplight, they take in that data. Every
take
time
in
they
that
take
data.
a right
Everything.
turn, every time they come up on a pedestrian.
Every time they
take
hit a
in-
pothole and they know when there in
Yeah.
this street there's a pothole,
Right.
it was rough, and then we lost
Right.
a little bit of mileage and speed there, and they take all that in.
Mm-hmm.
So these cars all know this stuff.
Right.
And the dumbest one is the smartest one because they're all on the same level. And every time an accident happens, they learn from it and they all learn from it. So it's even going to be a much less chance, exponentially much less of a chance of that same accident happening again because they already learned from it. Now here we go. What about human drivers? There's always going to be a dumb 16-year-old with his learner's permit out there driving, right?
Yeah.
So human drivers, you only learn how to drive until you get to your 30s or 40s, right?
No,
but there's always going to be those dumb. Well, yeah, there's even. Well, and then you get to the 70s and 80s, and they shouldn't even have licenses anymore. Some of them. I mean, some people, they really, honestly, shouldn't have licenses anymore. But you understand what I'm saying is. All the vehicles on the road, human-wise, much more dangerous because they're not at the same level.
Right.
You got beginners, you got people who have lost some of their ability.
Right.
At the edges, at the end of the spectrum. That's way more dangerous than a computer driving a vehicle. Once we get there, people will realize that and understand that.
Yep.
And the argument that, okay, it might hit a person, it might even run over a person and kill a person, that's going to be the end of all AI vehicles? No.
That'll probably be the last time they hit a person in that scenario.
We're still putting 16-year-olds behind a wheel, okay? And how and think about it. All these kids are so irresponsible. Think about it. All the parents back home right now.
Oh shit, I was irresponsible.
You know what you did when you were a kid. You have a chance of your kid being 16, 17, maybe slipping, going to somebody's house, drinking, getting drunk, and driving home drunk. And hitting the ditch, hitting the culvert, hitting the tree, maybe dying. Wouldn't you rather them just drove home with a robot car?
I'm not even worried about
the chances. What's the chances of them making it home? Them drunk at 2 a.m. with a half a bottle down.
I'm more worried about cell phones at this point. Cell phones are killing more people than fucking drinking at this point.
You think so?
Dude, it's ridiculous. Tell me the last time you went to an intersection and didn't see
the selfies?
Check
the
their
selfies?
phone.
People take it.
Oh shit, my mom texted me. Hold on.
Hey, here's a
stoplight.
Here's a venomous snake. I'm gonna take a selfie with it. They do that. It happens. Here's a bear. You know what bears do? You ever seen them?
Yeah, bears are fucking deadly, man.
I
don't want to get all
look, it's cute. Look at that. It's a that does go
bears,
Rogan, by the way.
Wow, bears. Bears are nuts.
So
bears will eat you alive, man.
And a chimp. So I love when he gets on his chimp.
Chimps will rip your dick off, man. Oh, legit, right? So funny.
No, he is hilarious.
The reason, the thing with cell phones is, there's nothing on a cell phone that isn't addicting now. Like, there's nothing on a cell phone that isn't somewhat addicting.
Elon Musk said something profound about cell phones.
So, well, that's the thing. So, like, you're addicted to cell phones, or you have a cell phone that's constantly giving you updates, and you're expecting people who grew up on cell phones, like grew up on a technology that constantly tells them, hey, look at this, and you're expecting them to drive?
Yeah.
I have trouble with it, and I only, I didn't grow up with a cell phone. I had a cell phone, I think I had a cell phone when I was 16, 17 years old, and it was a Nokia.
How hard is it to not look at your phone while you're driving? It's impossible.
Okay, so it's getting better.
It's impossible.
Because I'm learning, but there was a point where it was bad.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's not
impossible. It's not impossible. It's not. It's
at least
you have to really be mindful of it, put it down, face down, and forget about it.
I have a console where I can put it in and close it, but it still gives me notifications on my thing saying somebody sent me a message and it reads it to me and all of that.
You know what really saved me? And the problem with it is that you're so bored.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to say, but we live in an age of consistent entertainment.
Yes.
Constant entertainment. Yes. You're constantly entertained by something, whether it's a dopamine hit from a notification, or if you were just watching that one video, you finish that video, you get onto another website like instantly. So you live this life of consistent entertainment, and you're expected to drive with your hands on, 9 and 3 for
Just some
10 to 30 minutes.
Mundane, just.
You're listening to a radio, but none of that shit is good anymore. So the thing that saved me actually recently was just putting on a podcast. So I put on a podcast. I put my phone away. It keeps me going.
Yeah.
And it keeps me entertained and engaged, but I'm still on the road.
Right.
So that, man, these things are fucking deadly, dude.
So
these things are bad for us, and I'm about this close. And I know you people at home can't see this, but my fingers are almost touching. I'm about this close from buying like a flip phone. It's just basic stuff on it. Just I need GPS.
what?
And that's it.
Okay, so I work in the radio business, and I've mentioned that before.
Go ahead and brag
The
about
instant-
it again, you bastard.
No. The instant gratification thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't work in the sales side,
Okay.
but I've talked to the people that I work with, my coworkers, the salespeople, and the instant gratification even works on the sales side. So you sell radio ads, but they don't get to see the numbers. They don't know how many people heard whatever. You can show them your ratings, okay, but they don't know how many people whatever. But they run a Facebook ad and they get all that. They see all the who's seen it, who clicked on it, who did this, the engagement. Like you get all of that stuff. It's all digital. Like it's so hard to sell a simple radio ad now because they don't know what they're getting. You can't give them the numbers anymore, and people want numbers. They want that instant gratification, even though a company might put a Facebook ad that reaches 200 people, 2 people comment on it, 13 people liked it, okay? That gives them way more gratification than them buying some radio airtime, and they don't even know who heard it, because they don't know. It might have been thousands and thousands of people that heard it, but they don't know that because there's no instant gratification. But they can go on Facebook and see who liked it, they can see who loved it, they can see who commented, they can see who shared it, and that instant gratification for them is way more valuable than a radio ad.
Yeah.
And that's where the business is going, and for radio, man, it's freaking scary.
It's rough, right?
It's rough.
Yeah. These things are going to be our downfall. Our societal downfall.
Back to the profound thing that Elon Musk said about cell phones is...
Hold on, I got to check my Facebook.
We are cyborgs. Whether you believe it or not, we are cyborgs.
Yep.
20 years ago,
Yeah.
you had a question. You want to find out the answer to it. You have to go to the library.
Oh, sorry.
What's a library?
Oh, I'm sick.
What is a library?
Oh, it makes me feel weird. Oh, stop saying that word.
That's where they have those Lego Club meetings. At the library, right? That's what they do. That's what they're good for. Lego Club meetings.
No, I mean you can go there and like get these things called books.
Now,
Yeah.
you want to find out something? You just pick up your phone and you Google it. We're not attached to the phone yet. We're kind of figuratively attached, but we're not physically attached to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's the world's knowledge. It's everything all the humans know already right there.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then we get into AI. You want to play? You want to play? Let's play.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You've been itching this whole time to get more into AI.
God, it's so scary.
More AI.
ridiculous and
Tell me
exciting.
more AI.
So we're already cyborgs.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, and just like Elon Musk said, anybody who's hearing this, if you heard Elon Musk say this, I'm just taking his words. The problem is bandwidth. It takes longer we have to type in the cell phone and search it, and it has to come back. The knowledge. But it's universal knowledge. The knowledge is there. Anything we want, if we have a thought in our head, but we have to go through our fingers and we have to type in our phones and all that to find it. Eventually, the idea is that there's no longer a bandwidth problem where we are cyborg. Anytime we think of we have a question in our heads, we can consult the data bank, 1 second, 2 seconds, we get the answer automatically in our brain just as soon as we think.
Mm-hmm.
This is how this works. There's a company called Neuralink that was created. It was for something else, and I don't know, back in 2014, 2015, and I don't know what the company was about, but I don't think it worked out very well. Neuralink, Neuralink, and Sean's googling it, by the way, and then Elon Musk bought it in like 2016 or 2017, and I think he's turning it into Neuralace or something like that. And what it is this, they've already tested it on mice. It's like it's a lace thing that grows. So they tested it on mice. Like, so you inject the brain of a mouse, and there's this layer, and it grows all along the brain. It takes a while.
The quote defined by Musk is the Neuralace as a digital layer above the cortex.
Right. So it grows along the brain, and what it does is it replaces the neurons with artificial neurons.
Symbiosis with artificial intelligence.
Exactly. So basically, you think it and you get you're automatically connected to the internet in your brain. So you have all the knowledge. Now imagine this, okay? If they can perfect this, they're doing it on mice right now, but imagine this, if you can perfect this, if we can inject this thing into our brain, which gives us all the knowledge that every human knows in the universe, okay? And so what does that mean? That means anybody who has this in their head is now the smartest person in the world, right? Because they have all the knowledge. You have all the knowledge. So there's no longer any dumb people. As long as you have this Neuralace in your head, you have all the knowledge that all humans have. Right? Here's where it gets fucked up. Let's build an AI.
Yeah,
let's give the AI all the knowledge that human has and teach the AI how to build an AI. The AI builds an AI. And guess what? We can plug into it. We can take that AI's knowledge. All of it. Okay, you understand? Exponents, we ain't just growing knowledge in a Darwinism type of, we're superseding, we're learning so fast, and even the dumbest humans. I mean, when you're born, you got an infant. How long does it take for this Neuralace to hit this infant's brain? How long does it take to fully develop? A year? You got a 1-year-old that knows all the knowledge as much as any other human on the planet? And then some, because you have an AI that's actually smarter than humans and already has this. Imagine where this goes, okay? And here's the thing. The money behind this, the whole scheme behind everything is to live forever. We all want to live forever. And the money behind all this research is to live forever. They're gonna market this Neuralace thing, the way this is how it's gonna work. It's gonna help patients with Alzheimer's. It's gonna help to replace their neurons. The people that forget, you have Alzheimer's disease. That's how they're gonna get all the marketing. That's how they're gonna get all the money to do this. But it'll go full on board. So it naturally helps people. But eventually, if you can replace your entire brain and memory, this is where it gets really off the rails. With these artificial neurons, then you can take those neurons, plug it into something, and live forever. Your human body dies, but you can always make a robotic body and keep the same thing. And then, what's the need for reproduction anymore and all that? If you really want to get into it and go crazy and go that far into it, it gets nuts.
Well, that's the kind of thing that delves into the idea. You probably know the old question shit. I don't remember who started. I don't remember where it comes from. It's the axe question, where it's like you have an axe, or you have a ship, right? You have a ship, and over time you replace every board in the ship. Is the ship still the same ship? Right? Is it really the same ship? You've replaced every piece of material. You've replaced every sail, every mast, every board, every plank. You've gone as far as to replace every plane of glass. Is it still the same ship? Can you say yes or no to that?
I would say no.
I would say no. So, okay, yeah, I would also say no. So it's like a human being starts off with a brain. It's a brain. And you're saying that this neuralase comes in and then starts to replace neurons? Is that
Replacing
the idea
neurons
that
with
you're saying?
artificial neurons, yeah.
Yeah, so is that still the same person?
Yeah. Is that really your consciousness going in there, or just
Right.
memories? Do you really die and that's just memories living on? We don't know. Still don't know what consciousness is, really. We still don't know yet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess you're right.
But somebody said something that I thought was super profound. We are the sex organs for the future of AI. We're the sex organs for the machines. We're just here to create the machines, and the machines run the world. It's kind of like a Terminator type mentality, you know,
Well,
Skynet and all
that's
that
possible.
stuff. But
mean,
we're just here. We're just here to build the AI and the machines. That's all we are. We're just reproductive for them. And then once they get going, that's it.
Yeah, probably. Hell, I don't know.
I don't smoke. I haven't smoked in a long time. It would be a good time to take a little puff, though.
Yeah,
on that
really
thought.
get me going. I tell you what.
So that's
what, man. You know
that's what my fun AI rant is. That's where we go, and there's
no.
more
That's
to
a
it,
good point. I mean, shit, dude. At what point? That's always a good question. At what point are you? And of course, the consciousness question. What is consciousness, right?
Yeah, we still don't know. Is that actually transferable?
Because you could say
is that transferable?
Brain, well, I mean, so you could say that the brain is nothing but electrical signal, right? It's small electrical signals. But is that where your consciousness is stored, in those electrical signals?
Don't know.
Man,
I don't think any.
Nothing makes me feel dumber than talking about shit I don't know nothing about.
Well, I can tell you this. Domino's has a self-driving delivery vehicle.
Yeah.
You order pizza on the mobile app or online. It drives without anybody in it. No, there's no person in it. This vehicle just delivers to your door. You open up the door, you take your pizza out, you close the door, and it drives its ass back home. And it does that. Here's the deal. They don't have to pay a delivery driver. And you don't have to pay for a delivery charge.
No.
Look at the incentive there.
I think you'd still pay a small delivery charge.
You think they would make...
Probably. I think it would be factored. It would be put into the pizza. Every pizza.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Anyway, that's beyond the point. Yeah, it would shrink the delivery charge. Definitely. What is delivery charge now? Like $5? They charge you $5 extra.
Well, some people are assholes and don't tip them anything. You know.
Tip those fools, man. We live in America where tipping is normal.
Yeah. So
underpaid waiters and servers.
But I'm just
thing.
It's happening now in Houston right now. Okay, I said 5 years. People, like, we have waiter. Y'all know what waiter is? There's different names for different companies around the nation, but it's a network of delivery people who will, whether the restaurant delivers or not, will go pick up the food at the restaurant and bring it back to your house as long as it's in a certain amount of radius. Well, they don't need to. If they invest in these, think about it. You don't have to pay any benefits. You buy a handful of vehicles and you just let them run, and they're all electric. You ain't paying gas. You're just paying to charge them up. You're just paying electricity to charge them up, which is cheaper than buying gas. And they just roll.
You can run them 24/7.
Yep. They can pick up anything. You're not paying anybody. They don't have to worry about.
No, I get it.
About health care. They don't have to worry about overtime and all. Like, none of that exists. You don't have to worry about a bad employee. You don't have to worry about somebody fucking up, spitting on somebody's food or whatever, taking stupid viral videos, putting their dick in the pizza because they think it's going to be funny. You know what? You cut all of that crap out. The damn robot just takes it to the people and it comes back. That's all it does.
Yeah. I tell you what, though.
It's happening.
On that day, when the robot starts putting its dick in the pizza, there's gonna be a fucking revolution, dog. That's gonna be the day. That's gonna be the day when everything changes.
We're getting there, man, and it's coming faster. Like I just give that 5 year as a buffer.
Fucking humans.
It's happening so fast. People don't realize it.
Yeah, they don't even realize that we're both robots. That they're listening to two AIs talking to each other.
It's amazing how technology progresses,
Isn't it crazy? Yep.
Oh man, this has been fun.
Yeah, dude, it's great times. I hope. Yeah, never mind.
You got stuff going on?
No, it's my mother, my loving mother.
How's she doing?
She's doing all right. She's texting me right now, so I'm trying to be nice. Text her back right away.
I hope you talking shit about them Democrats.
Them Democrats.
The libtards.
I don't like to talk
crazy.
shit. I like to let them talk their own shit.
It's such an interesting spot right now because
Dude, what the freaking discourse is out of this world.
The discourse is out of this world, and I think we're gonna redefine what a Republican means, what a Democrat means, what a Libertarian means. I think we're all gonna redefine this shit, and I think the silver lining about having Trump as president, or it could either be the silver lining that gets us to get everything straight and fixed, or it could be the thing that totally destroys the country. I think it's the silver lining that ultimately leads us to get everything proper. It's going to take a while. But having Trump as president, I think, is going to be the chaos that shocked the system enough to where the people said, okay, this is ridiculous. Now, we're still in the chaos and the shock. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be, at least I hope. Otherwise, it's like the downfall of the nation, man. You know, this is what wakes everybody up. Like, why are we still debating socialism and capitalism? This argument has been rehashed for thousands of years. Thousands of years.
It's a good distraction. I don't know. I think politics in general is just the WWF of the world.
And they about to go kabunk.
We're about to see the Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
They're awful. WWF is
WWE is going bankrupt though.
There's nobody's watching it now. Who cares?
Nobody's watching. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's why they have politics.
I mean it's the cat's out of the bag now.
Oh
Let's
my
just
God!
put it
Are
that
you
way.
saying that people think it's fake? This
Cat's
is ridiculous,
out of the
John.
bag. Cat's out of the bag. You know, but even when you thought it was fake, sometimes it was still entertaining to
It's
watch.
real to me, God damn it!
Yeah. it was still entertaining to watch to some degree.
Oh, it's not even
but
fun anymore.
Well, now you have the UFC, which is just crushing everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. No, you watch a UFC fight, watch a WWE match. It ain't no question. Okay, Sean.
It's not the same.
Who the fuck? When you just grab somebody by the wrist and do this and fling them, they're gonna run all the way to those ropes, and those ropes are bouncy and rubbery enough to where they bounce and they just keep running right back. They don't ever trip and fall.
They don't
just
ever
run
stop
perfect.
themselves.
And when you throw them, they're facing the ropes. They're facing towards the ropes, and they magically, the way you whipped them, just magically turned them around to where they turn their back towards the ropes,
Right.
and now they're magically bouncing off the
Right.
ropes and coming back facing towards you so you can drop kick them in the face.
Completely ignoring the laws of physics.
Yeah. I mean, the cat's out of the
A wrestler in motion
Come on
stays
now.
in motion.
Come on. I mean, it's okay. People were smarter now.
But that's a thing. But that's a good point though. People are smarter now. So WWE is having trouble keeping fans.
Mm-hmm.
I think politics in general is having trouble masquerading. I think politicians know that their time is up unless they start being substantive. Or is that even a fucking word?
Yeah,
Substance?
it is to me.
Oh my God.
It's real to me.
It's real to me, God. No, they've got to start putting out real shit, man. And I think that's where people are getting so up in arms that they're tired of people fucking straight lying to them. Just lies directly to the face. So they're charlatans,
pandering
everyone.
charlatans.
And I think that there was and Trump was the great hope. He was that whole like, oh my God, these politicians have been lying to us for years. This president wants to get us out of wars. This president wants to bring back manufacturing. This president wants to give us things, and you know what?
And above all, he was not a politician.
And he's not a politician. We need him. And now, like, 3 years later, we're like, he's kind of a little bit of a liar, isn't he?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's the thing though, is that people are starting to see through that shit because they're not. Nobody's fucking stupid. There used to be a time when you get your news from 3 stations, right? You get your news from 3 stations 2-3 times a day. You know what they told you.
Bruh, people cried when Kennedy died. They didn't even know him. I mean, that's not their family member. That's not known. They didn't even know him.
Right.
They were crying.
He was
not
an amazing
one,
celebrity.
not one, not two, hundreds of people
Thousands,
were like
maybe.
bawling. Yeah, probably thousands.
Yeah.
Were bawling their eyes out when Kennedy got shot.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
How could
John F. Kennedy?
He was so young.
I wouldn't cry. They shot Trump tonight. I wouldn't cry.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I guess I saw that coming. That's another thing.
I mean,
how many times did I remember saying to a couple friends of mine, they're like, that dude's gonna get shot.
he's gonna get shot.
Somebody's
Somebody's
shoot
gonna fuck him
this
up.
guy.
Yeah.
It's surprising that.
Obviously, we don't condone any of
Jesus
this. We're
Christ,
just
you have
saying.
to say that?
Well, fucking YouTube now and their goddamn
I guess so,
apocalypse shit. Not that I make any money off of this. We
Shoot
don't.
the president. That'd be stupid. It was one of those things that like we talk about. Like, how is this dude going to survive? People are up in arms, but
Even without that, I mean, one of my best friends was like, "There's no way Trump survives his full term. No way." Like
Yeah.
he not getting shot, but they're gonna
Something's
get
gonna
him.
happen.
They're gonna get
Sure.
him. He's gonna go to jail. They're gonna get him. And I told him, I was like, "Dude, he's gonna make it." This Mueller investigation. I'm just telling you. Wait, let it go. Let it go. Just wait. You remember?
No, I have a good friend of mine who kind of said the same thing.
There's no way he's gonna get through.
Oh, dude.
Robert Mueller's, he's gonna get him. This guy's he's a
Just
fox,
wait.
man. He's gonna just wait.
Oh, did you see this new thing that came out? It's over.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not, dude. And I kept telling him basically like, all right, I guess we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And it never happened. And I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
It's not.
Because I think it sets a weird precedent that if it happens to him, it'll happen to the next guy. It'll happen to the next
And
guy.
then we
I
turn
don't
into
think
fucking Venezuela.
I don't think
that's
anybody,
how their politics.
I think that this whole thing with the Mueller investigation and everything else was a political smearing to make him look as bad as possible, but not to necessarily get him out, because they know that if they set that line, if they say it's this easy to get this dude kicked out, and the next guy's going to have just as hard of a time to stay
Right.
in. But here's another thing, right?
But you derail everything he's trying to do, and you set up all this disinformation.
So, I am not against impeachment. I'm not. I am not against impeachment. I think that Congress can impeach whatever president they feel like they need to impeach at any time. I think it's within their power, and they should do it. I honestly feel like most presidents should have been impeached, and they weren't. I think that should have happened more often. But I also feel like the things that they're pushing for impeachment, they're saying this is why he needs to be impeached, is fucking wet toast. It's stupid. It's conspiratorial. You want to impeach the president? Impeach the president for bombing fucking 7 nations. Impeach him for war crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Fuck, I'll get behind that shit right now. Do it. Impeach him for fueling Saudi jets while they're fucking bombing Yemen. Do that. I'll get on board that shit. But they're not gonna fucking do it.
Well,
because that sets a weird precedent that says that we are against these things when they know they're fucking not.
you're looking at the mainline Republicans and the mainline Democrats, and they're all warmongers, and they're all in it for they're all like Even the Democrats
It's the
are
fucking
pushing.
oil.
They want war with Iran. The Democrats want war with Iran. They
Democrats,
want the main ones, the main lines.
The media wants Democrat. The media wants war. The most fucked up thing. I'm cursing like a sailor right now, and I'm out of alcohol.
Yeah, me too.
The most fucked up thing that I've seen lately, that I've noticed lately, is all of the ex-CIA, ex-FBI, ex-insert bureau working in the media.
And they all have books too. They all come out with books.
They all
too.
have
bestsellers.
And they're all the first person that people go to for information about. These people are fucking spies. They're
spooks.
They're spooks. They're war criminals.
I love the term spooks.
Yeah, that's a fun.
I
That's
love
a fun term. That's a fun term. So we're turning to them to ask them how they feel about Iran. We're turning to them. You know, what was that one guy? Oh, I can't remember his name now. But there was this one thing that he pleaded. He was pleading with the CIA or the FBI. I'm freaking it up, but pleading with this bureau to not give in to Trump. So you're basically pleading for a soft coup? Is that what you're asking for? For a democratically elected president. Now, and you can scream and holler about the difference between electoral college and popular vote, but this is how it worked. This is how he won, and he did win. And you're asking the people who work for him to straight up ignore his requests. And that's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked up. And that's what they
call the deep state. And anytime you bring, like, I have a friend, like, as soon as you start talking about the deep state, that's it. This conversation's over. Like, bro, you don't think there's actually people in there that's like do you not understand that the president is totally vulnerable to whatever intelligence his informants give him? The president just doesn't automatically, just right away, just know everything that's going on in the world. He has people tell him. If those people are corrupt, if those people have an agenda, the president's vulnerable to that. So you don't think it's possible? It ain't just Trump.
Oh, I think it's
like you said. You said it earlier in this podcast. It's not just Trump. This happens to presidents early. They don't have as much power as people think that they do.
It's been happening since Eisenhower gave his speech about the industrial complex, military-industrial complex, and then before that, he knew what he was setting up. He fucking set it up, and he knew it was going to be bad, and he warned us all about it. He said, "These motherfuckers are going to run shit. If y'all are not careful." And we were not careful, and now they run shit, and now we're in wars that are perpetual. Because, and this is my favorite one too. Well, if we leave, then the whole country will collapse. We shouldn't have fucking been there in the first place. We caused it to collapse. So you're saying that we're now holding it up by continuing war? What kind of argument is that? Get the fuck out. We don't need to be there. Get out. Let them. They're a nation. There are people there. Let them handle their nation. That's my thing.
I'm definitely.
But anyway,
it's
AI, right?
It's a hard.
it's fucking hard, man.
It's a hard line. It really is a hard line to figure out. But I definitely side along the lines of leave people the fuck alone, man.
Yeah, there are a lot smarter people than me that could probably figure it out better than I can, but.
Maybe if we stay out of that side of the world, the terrorists will get bigger, better, badder, more able. We can still kick that little shit out of them. I mean, no problem. They're like, sure. These are goat fuckers.
What? Not all of them.
Not all terrorists.
Not all terrorists.
Okay, exactly. Come and suspend this podcast because I called a terrorist a goat fucker. Do it.
No, that's not going to happen.
Do it.
They don't, like I said, they don't care about you yet.
By the way, I have friends that are Muslim. I love them. Not all Muslims are terrorists. Absolutely not. In fact, this is something I really want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 Muslim friends. Every single one of them is a different race. Every single one of them is a different race.
Yeah.
So I don't like if somebody says, "Oh, you say something and blah blah blah." That's anti-Muslim. That's racist. Bullshit. I got 3 Muslim friends. I'm sure just because they have the same religion, they don't want to be lumped into the same race.
Is that religious?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That would be.
I hate that
hatred towards a religion. If you hate, okay.
But even still, it's not the religion because you said those people are cool
and they're beautiful people. I love these people. They're Muslim and they're great. There's nothing wrong with these people. I mean, I don't care what they believe. They're genuine. Some great people. I met them. Look, they came to college. I went to college with them. I took some classes with them. Mm-hmm. Some great people. One of these people. I don't want to get into that. But some great people.
Let's move on.
Some great people.
Sure.
And to just classify them as all one thing, as all one race, as all one... No, it's bull, man. And I think that's so totally disrespectful to say, you know, you're a racist because you made one comment about one Muslim person, whether it was even blah, blah, blah. Just, they love pulling BS like that, man. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Charlatans.
Animals, I tell you.
Sounds like some animals running around in a living room right now.
They're having a blast, man. Those kids.
Sounds good.
Having kids is great, right?
Oh man, I got you got one.
I do.
He's what, 3?
He is 3.
He's in between my 2.
3.5.
I got one that's 4, one that's 2, and so he's 4.5 and 2.5, and he's 3.5. Yes. So he's right in between.
He's 3 years old. Tree.
And it's boy, it changes a lot of things. It changes his podcast. This is
let's talk about some. All right, everybody talks about how amazing it is to be a parent, right?
Well,
yeah, generally, like, okay, so let's just say on social media, you get on social media, everyone's like, oh, my cute kid, oh, he's so cute, look at him blowing snot bubbles and shitting on my floor, he's so gorgeous, but how bad, so there are these moments, now the positive will always outweigh the negative, and I will always love my son, but there are these moments where you look at him, where I look at my son and I say, you are not a human being. I look at him and I say, what is wrong? What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing it? We've already told you, no. Do you do timeout?
Yeah.
Have you done spankings?
Like on certain occasions where
be rough, right?
Where not necessarily rough.
Okay.
I haven't did full on like spankings.
Sure.
But I've done hand taps.
I got you.
Like if a kid, like if one of my kids are reaching for something that's dangerous, I'll tap their hand. It's not a real spanking. It doesn't hurt, but it is a hand swat. Let's say that.
Yeah,
it's swat. a swat away and be like, no.
Yes. It's an attention getter as well.
Right.
I get that.
Or like Lukey, on a couple of occasions, he has bit Nate. And it's not a...
Yeah, that's right.
It's not a smack. It's more of a tap. It's really just like just a little tap on the lips, and you say no. But the point of touching the lips, the point of touching the lips is to let them know that it's the mouth that's the problem. Don't bite. We say don't bite, but it's to extra emphasize it. I mean, I'm not popping my kid in the face. I would never do that. I love my kid, you know. Yeah. But you do, just a little tap.
It's an attention getter.
It's an attention getter, right?
Coming up, I never really spanked my son, and I spanked him a few times over the past year or so, and realized that it was for naught. He looked at me with such a face of "fuck you" that
kids respond to different things.
He looks at me and says, well, "What now, dude?" So I've sworn it off because it's ineffective.
But you know what's great? You know why that makes you a good parent is because you realize that.
Oh yeah, quick.
And so now you have to find what is effective.
Oh, this dude's strong-willed as like this little guy. is so strong-willed that even timeout. So there was a really rough instance a couple nights ago, and I've gotten to the point where I negotiate with him, or I'm constantly reminding him of what's going on. So basically, there are a few things that are really bad. You don't hit your mother, because he does. Whenever he gets into these anger moments or these no moments, he kind of
full disclosure. My kids.
He kind of wants to start
done that
swinging,
too.
right? So they want
Right.
to swing, and I'm like, no, that's a dead stop, and that's
Absolutely.
instant timeout.
I'm like that too. You
And
do
there,
not hit your mom.
and there are a couple things where it's like you give him the 3 timer, like 1, 2, 3 timeout. Now you go in timeout in 3, so you better be ready for this. 1, 2, and usually he'll stop. But if he doesn't, especially if he laughs at me, oh, it's game over. So we have a corner, and this is the newest thing. I pull up a chair and I get behind him and I tell him, you're in timeout. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to be in timeout, and timeout does not start until your face is in the corner and your hands are at your side. And this dude will scream and carry on for 5 solid minutes. I'm telling you, 5 minutes of screaming, and like his hands are up in the air, and I'm grabbing his hands and I'm pulling him down and I'm holding him still. I'm like, your timeout has not started yet. And I'm constantly like, do you want to get out of timeout? No. And he screams at me, no. And he starts hitting the wall. I'm like, I'm pulling him back down. Do you want to be out of timeout? Eventually he snaps. There's a break where he's like, yes. Here's what you have to do. Stay still, hands on your side, facing the corner. No, I don't want to. Do you want to be out of timeout? Yes. Or listen. No. So if you go through that for another like 3 or 4 minutes, I'm like, just listen. You're here because you didn't listen. You won't get out until you do listen. So finally, eventually, he'll stop. His hands drop to the side, and he sits there, and he's only in timeout for like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, cool, you did it. And he turns around, I give him a hug, I'm like, thank you for listening, you did a great job. Pat him on the butt, and he goes off on his way. But it's such a struggle.
It is,
to
man.
get to that
It
one
is.
point where he's like, okay, I get it. There are some things that I can't do. And I don't do it for everything. There are some things that it's just like, whatever. He wants to jump on the couch, whatever, let him jump.
I got 2 boys, and it's like a double-edged sword, because
Life is
they're
a double-edged
boys.
sword.
They're going to wrestle and fight with each other.
Right.
They're brothers.
Yeah.
One's 4, one's 4.5, 2.5. They're gonna fight and wrestle with each other, and I want them to. I want them to.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want, when Luke can't bite Nate. Nate is the older, and Nate can't do certain things to Luke because Luke's smaller. He's younger. He can't just throw his full body weight on him. I don't want broken arms and stuff. So I gotta watch it. But I will let them fight because it's important. I think that struggle was important. I think they need to fight.
Yeah.
They're 2 little boys. They need to know. I don't want them to grow up. Look, punching people. I'm not teaching them to punch. I tell them no hit.
Sure.
Well, all the time it's corrected. No hit. No hit. That's not how you solve situations. No hit. But when they get into it, they're normally fighting over toys. No, that's my toy. No, that's mine. I'll let them go and I'll let them kind of scuffle, and I'll look at them. As long as they're not getting too hurt, nobody's getting really hurt, I'll go, hey! I'll yell at them to let them know that daddy's paying attention and that they probably shouldn't be doing that. But I'll still let them carry on because they need to learn. They need to learn a little self-defense, how to handle themselves physically, and how to do. And I'll let them scuffle, and I'll be like, hey, y'all stop that, and they'll keep going and going, and then eventually somebody comes running crying, Daddy!
Right.
And then I sort it out. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're good. After that, next thing you know, they're laughing and joking and cutting, and they're still wrestling, but they're laughing they're all good and they're playing along. And I just think it's important for them to learn that. I watch. I let them know that daddy's watching, but I still let them go.
Right. Oh, that's a good thing, man. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I have a second one. Well, me and my wife have talked about it already. So if it happens, it happens. I'm excited if we have another kid.
I can tell you what you're not gonna do is sleep.
Yeah, right.
You lose a lot of that.
Oh yeah. Well, sleep is underrated. So.
Oh,
But
I disagree. I disagree.
So the thing, back to the timeout thing, and the reason why it's because, or the reason why I do timeout the way I do is because my kid has a specific issue with getting things done right away. And I've noticed that about him, like, let's go brush your teeth. No, I don't want it. And he'll run off. And he doesn't understand that he's only postponing the inevitable.
Right.
He's just pushing off what's going to happen. You have to brush your teeth, bud. No, I don't want it. And he runs off. It's like, okay, I grab him. We go into the bathroom. We start brushing our teeth. It's like, see, if you would have just done it, we would have been over with. We could have moved on. You could be watching your show before bed, and everything would be fine. And it's the same thing with the timeout thing. It's like, listen, if you do it now, it'll be over quicker than you can imagine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what else to do with him. I've already realized that obviously the spanking thing doesn't work. The yelling thing doesn't work. It's this calm, like, listen the first time, get it over with, and we move on with our lives. So hopefully over time he'll learn. It's a 3-year-old mind. He's gonna do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. And look, like, all kids are different. Like, my two is disciplining them is really totally different. We try to do the timeout. Nate hardly ever. This is the older one. He hardly ever, rarely goes in timeout.
Oh, good, man.
But he's sassy.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I have
He's
different
4, right?
ways. No, that's my blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to drink that. Just blah blah blah. I don't want no dinner, no blah blah blah. Just ice cream, whatever.
Oh, of
And
course.
but we have ways of. I don't know. I think physically striking Nate, he's a little bit more sensitive than Luke is.
You think so?
And I don't know how he would handle that. I don't think Nate is a kid that should be physically struck. I don't think that would work for him. I think he would be more traumatized than disciplined.
Well, yeah, I'm not necessarily against spankings.
And I think Luke would take. I think timeout works for Luke, and just yelling at Luke sometimes works for him because he doesn't like to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But I think he would also respond to spankings. Nate, I think, is just totally different. Nate would see that more as trauma than why is my daddy striking me, as opposed to understanding that he did something wrong.
Sure. And I've heard it a lot too. So like I said, I'm not necessarily against spankings. I think that you have to be incredibly aware of your kid's response to it, though. If your kid looks at you and smiles and says "fuck off" basically with his face, then you're like, okay, so we're in another realm of discipline. I can't spank this kid because he's not going to respond. He's going to look at me like I'm crazy. There's got to be something else. I mean, if you spank your kid and he cries a little bit, but he instantly starts listening, it's like, I don't know if that's necessarily good, but it's a step towards something. Maybe it's something new, something different that you could try. But yeah, I can't imagine spanking my kid and him just being like, just like not looking at you the same. Like never looking you in the eyes again.
Yeah, I really feel like Nate would get that my daddy like hurt me type deal.
Yeah.
I really like it would be like, and he would lose all like trust and respect and faith in me. And
sure.
See me. Like I really feel like he's the type of kid that it wouldn't be the right thing to do. I mean, again, I'll spank a hand away or slap a hand away. Not super physical, not gonna hurt. I'll do little, things, but it ain't gonna be straight up spanking. But I can remember one time in my life, I was always a pretty good kid. And I can't speak to my parents exactly. Maybe I got whipped on more than one, but I definitely remember one spanking I got.
Really?
I remember one, and it was with the belt.
Ooh.
And I remember it. And
Did he get the wrap around?
Oh, I got the wrap around. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I got it.
Oh.
And you know what? I remember it to this day, and I don't. My dad was right to do it. I look back and it's like, yeah, that was right. Yeah, I was being a little asshole. I deserved it.
Do you remember how old?
But I have cousins. I like my grandparents and stuff. Some of the other parts of the family. They had switches. You know what switches are? I love that word. Switches.
Go pick
switches.
a switch.
Go pick a switch.
Pick a switch.
For people that are listening to this that are not familiar, switch is like a. It's not a vine.
Oh, it's a thin stick.
A super
branch.
thin stick.
It's
like
a branch.
green. It's like a cross between a branch and a vine.
Right. It's green growth basically. You
and
pick a green branch and they beat you with it.
And when you swing it through the air, it does.
Yep.
And
it's got a whipping effect to it.
Yeah. And so my cousins were little assholes. They were little badasses.
I got you.
They got plenty of switches. I didn't. I mean.
You learn from it quickly.
I watched them, and I wouldn't tell on them, because I ran with my cousins, but I wouldn't do the bad shit. I'd just laugh at them. I'd laugh at them when they would do the bad shit, the funny shit, because it was funny, because it was bad stuff. No.
Okay.
They would let me, because they know I wasn't doing that. I didn't tell on them.
John, you was an angel.
I didn't tell on them, but I watched them do the bad shit. I laughed at them do the bad shit, and then I laughed at them getting fucking spanked, too. Because that shit was all funny. I didn't do none of it. I just was a bystander.
That's right.
And I know I really and on some occasions maybe I masterminded the pranks and stuff that happened.
Oh, you were that guy?
I might have been the one that set my cousins up sometimes.
Might have been that guy too. I can't lie.
I might have said I knew better. I was never gonna do that because I knew that was my ass if I did it.
Yeah.
But I might have influenced my cousins.
I was far better at getting other people into trouble than I was at getting into trouble.
Yeah.
So. It's bad.
Oh, come on, man. One time I showed my cousin. I was like, "Hey, look, this is an ice maker. Watch." Plunk, a piece of ice fell down.
Yeah.
See that on the fridge? Look at that. Isn't that cool? Look, you just press. Look, piece of ice fell down. I had the cup on the counter. Put the ice in the cup on the counter. It's like, isn't that cool? Yeah. He gets a chair. Pulls it up to the fridge, climbs on the chair, just holds it. Ice everywhere, all over the floor.
Oh,
Here comes my grandmother.
Yeah. That's funny.
I know.
I know.
Like, Mama! He sprayed ice all over.
Yeah.
I was a little asshole sometimes. But
I got spanked one good time, or at least twice. I know twice.
You at least remember.
But they weren't spankings. So funny story, right? So my dad, when I was around 9 or 10 years old, I remember he would cut things out of wood for us. I remember one time he cut out some wooden guns out of plywood. So we would play with that out in the back.
Did they have rubber bands?
No. It was just a cutout.
Okay.
And you could hold it. They had there was no trigger or anything. It was just a solid.
It was just a solid piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we would run around with that. So apparently we were being quite naughty recently. So he decided to build paddles. So he did it, man, and he did it right. So he grabbed one of his favorite knives, I guess, his favorite cooking knife, and he traced the handle onto the plywood, and then he traced a shape of a paddle. And he didn't do any of this in secret. He did this with us watching, basically.
I like it.
And he cut it all out. And he made this freaking paddle. It was about a 1.5 feet long with a nice solid like chef's knife handle on the end of it. And he also made one for the neighbors. Those poor neighbors. It was rough for them, man. They had a rough coming up. But my dad had this thing. It was mostly just a threatening tool. Like,
yeah, just watching y'all. That's the greatest thing is y'all watching him make it.
He was like, I don't want to use this on you guys, basically. So my dad only really whipped me with it once. And I'm going to be honest, I bet you he really didn't even hit me that hard. He really didn't. But I know I felt it, but that was the last time he ever used it. And he only used it on me and my little brother once each, I think. Maybe my little brother twice, I don't remember. But we only got it once, and that was game over. and we listened a little bit better after that.
It leaves a lasting remark. A lasting mark. I mean, not physically, but like.
But it was always his thing.
Like, okay, that's it.
My dad was also really good at talking to us, which is something that I wanted to kind of continue. He was really good at like he'd call us into the room when we fucked up. We'd go into him and my mom's bedroom, and we'd sit down and we'd talk about it. And it was that whole like I'm not angry, I'm disappointed thing, and we'd talk it out and we'd get to the end of it. And be like, so we're not doing that again, right? And we'd be better for it.
Right.
But boy, that paddle, that one time. And you could tell it hurt him. Like there was something about, now that I look back on it, he wasn't happy about it. Like there was nothing good about what he was doing. He knew it was, but it was something that he it was almost like a promise that he had to keep.
Right.
Right? It's like, I told you. God, I told you should have listened. Here you go. That was the last time.
When I got that belt, I deserved it. And I look back at it and I'm like, yeah, I needed it.
But like I said, it was 9, 10 years old. I was older. It wasn't like he was hitting a 3-year-old or anything. So,
well,
yeah, and that paddle hung up and it was over.
There was.
But like I said, my poor neighbors, they got
my elementary.
They had a nice paddle, boy.
My elementary principal, and then he ended up being vice principal at things throughout high school. I mean, he had a paddle. One side of it said love, the other side of it was respect.
Oh Jesus!
He's like, teach y'all a little love and respect.
Oh,
and he paddled, man. He used to carry it in a little Toyota bag.
Oh.
And when people seen him walking around with that Toyota bag, and then look, it was more. He would paddle people in front of everybody. Okay,
oh, wow.
He would do it in front of everybody.
South Louisiana schools.
So but what was good about it was he really didn't beat kids and abuse kids. He really didn't. You know.
So we're talking about like.
But it was to shame. Maybe 2 or 3 sometimes.
But we're not. But there's a difference between 2 or 3 hits and him like really rearing it, like licking his lips.
He wasn't doing that. It was getting paddled in front of all your peers.
Oh yeah.
That's what did it. That's what did it.
I'm not cool for that, but man, I mean, it was a different time back then. Of course, no, it wasn't that different. It was only 20 years ago. No, it was longer, right?
Culture, though. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, things have changed a lot, but it's better. I don't know. Maybe it's better. You know, maybe we'll find out in 10 to 15 years that everything's better.
Where is, I don't know where the world is going. AI, I can tell you that. Everything. You think everything's automated and AI right now? We're freaking.
Wait until the robots start paddling.
Dude.
Game over then.
Robot disciplinarians.
Oh. We got robot disciplinarians. We got robots putting their dicks in our pizza. It's fucking over, man.
It's one hell of a podcast.
I'm telling you, the only other thing this podcast needs is maybe some Adderall. Yeah, we probably have a good time.
I've never had Adderall. No.
Never?
No.
I've tried it once.
Never needed it.
I tried it once.
I mean,
that was an interesting experience.
All of my friends did because they had to write papers for college.
Oh,
so
no.
that's what people did.
See, I was never like that. It was never something that like I was addicted to or anything. It was just something. I think we had gone to a training one time. I was older. I was 20 something, and we had gone to some sort of training for my job, and somebody was like, we were bored out of our freaking minds, and somebody was like, hey, you want to try this? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll try one. Dude. A lot of people will tell you that the experience is that you're hyper, or that like everything's crazier. I don't know what the experience is for many people, but for me, it was insane. It was like the most concentrated I had ever been. And a lot of people.
So it actually like worked on you.
It actually worked on me, and I'm not a kid. See, I was never given medicine when I was a kid.
Right.
In fact, I think my parents were probably told that I needed medicine when I was a kid, and they homeschooled me instead. So, but you know what? Hey, it's all good because ultimately, like, because I didn't have that medication growing up, I learned tricks and shortcuts to get to where other people were. So like I'm able to do the things that other people do, but from a different route, which may not make sense. But if you have an attention deficit disorder, it's kind of like you have to mentally strain to do the simplest things, right? But yeah, dude, it was Adderall. I don't know how much it was. I don't know the prescription, but I remember, and this was the last time I'd ever taken it too. I haven't been prescribed for it, even though everyone says, yeah, you should probably go talk to a doctor. But let me tell you, man, I learned so much that day.
Focus.
And it was like, it was just kind of like the tunnel vision went away.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, the tunnel vision happened. It was a reverse. Yeah. It was like, whoomp, I was right there. And but yeah, it may actually work for me.
Okay, so a couple of notes on that. I totally understand. Okay, so in working out, exercising, bodybuilding, there's two different philosophies. If you are going to be a pro athlete and you're lifting weights, and then you're going to be a bodybuilder and you're lifting weights, there's two ways of approaching. Okay, you lift the same amount of weights. A bodybuilder is going to lift a certain weight, and it's strategically just to make certain muscles bigger, and it's just supposed to target certain muscles. But an athlete might lift that same weight, but he might cheat a little bit. You know how people talk about proper form? Well, athletes can get away with not doing proper form because the idea is they're not trying to build specific muscles. They're trying to move this amount of weight in this direction in this way. So it's better for them to cheat because it makes them more efficient. They're not building individual muscles, they're being more efficient at doing this task. Whereas the bodybuilder is specifically just trying to build specific muscles. So it's kind of like that roundabout way of doing things.
Yeah.
That's how it connects to me, I guess, a little bit.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of a good way to look at it.
And the other thing is...
basically, the goal is the goal, and a lot of people see the goal. There's only one way to get to that goal.
Right.
And some people have to... some people, when they look at that path to the goal, it makes no sense to them. Like, this makes absolutely no sense, and I'm going to go over here and play with Legos. And I'll get to this when I get to this.
Right.
And then they eventually find a roundabout way to get back to it. So I feel like that's kind of, and like I said, I've learned, I feel like my mind was trained to adapt to what people just do naturally.
My other comment on that was I remember the first time I did cocaine.
Okay. All right.
I didn't have smartphones. I don't even know what brand it was. It almost looked like a fish. Like my phone looked like a fish. Like a rounded top and a square bottom. And it kind of went in, in the middle to almost like a fish.
Sure.
It had the snake game on it.
Something from 2004 or 2000, 2002.
2004. I think that was about
right before the iPhone came
2004, 2005, exactly.
Yeah.
It had the snake game on it. I was freaking crushing my scores, man. I was crushing my best scores because I was all bzzz, my brain was just
right.
Bing, 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 bing. I was like, man, why is this snake moving so slow? Like, I thought this level was much harder than this. Like, my brain was moving 1,000 miles per hour. It was great.
This is your cocaine story?
Yeah, it was the first time I ever did it. First time I ever did it. I played Snake.
Dude, I did cocaine one time and I just spent the whole time on my phone playing Snake.
Truth be told, I was in the backseat of a car and the driver was doing marijuana deals.
Oh,
and I didn't want. I was alone for the ride. I was in the back. Yeah, no. So I was playing Snake on my phone, but I was crushing my scores, dude. It was bing, 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 bing. I was like, why is this snake moving so slow?
See, but that's...
There's a much deeper, darker part to that story, but
There's a big difference also between taking Adderall and having your legs shaking and you're like crushing the score, like you said, and taking Adderall and just being present.
Yeah,
which is a huge difference. So
it affects people differently.
And that was my experience. It's not that I was agitated or hyper or crushing snake. It was that
it did what it was supposed to do.
I was just sitting there, chilled, and paying attention, and it was the weirdest fucking thing in my life.
You know what did that for me?
Was that?
Because, okay, all throughout high school, I drew demons and swords and, you know, stuff right out of Dungeons and Dragons in my notebook.
Nice.
That's what I did in mathematics. Freaking hated math. So I drew demons, I drew AC/DC, and that was my favorite band, so I drew them playing, you know, rock and roll on stage and the whole speaker, like, and a big devil, and like I drew all kind of crazy stuff, you know. I was into that, and you know what really made me finally started to focus? It didn't happen until college, and it happened in lectures.
What, you were actually interested?
I'd get an empty water bottle,
okay,
and I'd fill it up with Malibu. Because it looks just like water. And I would sit down and I would sip Malibu, and all of a sudden I could zone in and focus, and all these lectures made sense to me now, and it was entertaining. Everything the teacher did was entertaining to me. A little bit goofy sometimes, because I would laugh. And anytime, but what was funny was anybody, you know, you had those people in class that asked those stupid ass fucking questions. I was in my desk doing...
Giggle. That's funny.
You know, laughing every time. But that's what made college... That's how I made it through college. Was drinking. Because it made it fun to me. Otherwise, it was boring. I was up at an early hour. It was shit. But just... I mean, seriously. I'd pour Malibu in a white water bottle. Or sometimes I'd bring a coffee cup. Because everybody drank coffee, right? It was okay to drink coffee in class. So I'd just bring a coffee cup, and it was full of, like, what's that Irish whiskey?
Oh my God, what's going on out there?
The Irish cream whiskey, you know what I'm talking about.
I got you.
But it starts with a B. Bailey's. Yeah, I just bring like a coffee cup full of Bailey's and just sip on that all day.
I'm not gonna say you have a problem. I'm pretty sure you can.
Oh, I'm fully in control of it. It's not a problem.
It's not like real alcoholism where like.
It may be alcoholism, but it's not a problem. Like, I got it under control.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to judge.
It's delicious. It's a hobby, man. I love it.
Yeah.
If it was a problem, I wouldn't love it. It would be something I'd be trying to...
I mean, if it were a real problem, you would have never known about Crown Mesquite.
Exactly.
It's a hobby at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm keeping that bottle because I don't... That's going to be a rarity soon because nobody else is buying that.
It's fucking garbage.
Yeah. If anybody knows about Crown Mesquite, look, they took Canadian Crown Royal and they aged it in some Texas mesquite barrels, and it's a super smoky, barbecue-y type flavor.
Spicy.
And it's look, I love bourbon that'll put hair on your chest. I don't mind a little burn. This does have some burn. Sean says it's spicy, but it's so thick and smoky.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's everybody hates it, but I have a bottle of it. It's beautiful, man. I love the way even the label on it is like made like wood, and it's in a red, white, and blue bag.
Yeah.
Which is just beautiful. So it's a great keepsake. I keep it tucked under. I let people try it one time, and they say, "Don't ever gift me that again." And you know, it's good. It's good. I'll never run out of that bottle.
All right.
I think my wife's actually. I think my wife was here almost an hour ago. I don't know.
You know what time it is?
It's time to wrap. I gotta pee so bad. That's what time it really is.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I'm gonna crack the porcelain. I got so much pressure built up. I gotta pee so much.
I'm gonna destroy this toilet.
So this is how it's going, man. It's the Lagniappe show. I said the new season kicks off in the summer. We'll do this more often. Yeah. Sean will definitely be back way more often. I'm glad you came. Always good for good conversation. Deep conversation, too. And you'll definitely be back. Well, I'm making you. You have no choice.
It's so deep, bro. I know how you like it.
On that note,
Yes, sir.
thanks for listening. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.